The little man's walked in who's doing 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, saying, yeah, I've got a load of puff and a load of weed. They're physically holding these people down and digging out their with a spoon to get the drugs. That's what's happening to these people. They get humbled very quick and they don't want to come back. It's not a nice place to be. Because a lot of people think they're going to prison, they're going to earn a bit of status. They're going to be the men, they're going to be the man. It's not like that. You go into prison, you get terrorised, you get bullied, you get raped. I've seen it, I've heard it, not necessarily physically witnessed it, but I've heard it. You get big gangster type people that go in there and become gay just while they're there. Terrorise the little younger ones, and then when they get out, they're not gay no more. Like, that goes on in there is f***ing nuts. So, it's not a cool place to be. It's actually a really horrible place to be. Like I told you before, if you've got that attitude that you're a bit better than anybody, you're getting cut down very, very quick. I've seen real gangsters, actual faces, being terrorised because they think they're a face. But in prison, there is none of that. You're not, that hierarchy's not there, mate. The littlest man on the wing is the man that's going to do something to you because you won't give him a roll-up because he hasn't got nothing. Geezer's accusing me of wearing his vest. A Nike, a black, I'll never forget it, a black Nike vest. Like, we're in the gym and all that. I'm standing out where the dinner is. Obviously, I'm pally, I'm on the reception, so I can hang about when everyone else is getting shuttled off to their cells. I'm still talking to the boys on the server and that, and we're talking, and I can hear this geezer keep saying, hey lad, what are you doing with my vest? Like, I'm not going to do the Scouse accent, I can't do it. But he's doing it in a Scouse accent, what are you doing with my vest on? I'm like, mate, drop me out, this ain't your vest, this is my vest, mate. Leave me alone, leave me alone. And the screw, one of the screws was standing, obviously you get the screws, they stand by the survey line to just make sure everyone's feeding and shuffling on. I said to the screw, mate, please do not let that fella come nowhere near me because I am going to weigh him in. I've seen crazy people with Glocks, real Glocks.
Glocks?
I promise you, mate. I kid you not. I was in there 2003 to 2005 and I actually witnessed a Glock inside HMP Liverpool. In the nuttiest jail, one of the nuttiest jails I've ever been in. I've done quite a few prisons since then, on my second prison sentence and that. But yeah, that gaff's mental, mate.
All right, thank you, Ray Hill, for hooking us up with John. Now, John has done a lot of his life in prison. He's got a hard-hitting story, but he's come out of it the other end with 3 businesses that he's helping the community with. And by the end of this podcast, you're going to see his journey. And in the description box below this video are links to his businesses. So please support what he's doing. Huge thank you for coming on first, John.
You're welcome, mate.
Cheers. And this, you sound like you're a southerner, but this started in Glasgow, did it?
No, yeah. So I was born in Glasgow, but I can speak Scottish.
Can you?
Yeah. So if you want me to, I can just switch to Scottish and then I can go back to English. So I grew up till I was about 6 years old in Glasgow. And then my mum and dad moved down to London. So born in Glasgow, grew up in northwest London.
And we were talking earlier, premature, you were £2 because we were comparing you to baby Ziggy's, yeah. £10.
Yeah. I can remember my dad always telling me he could hold me in the palm of his hand.
Wow.
One little baby.
Yeah.
£2.
Wow. And
I'm probably about 16 stone now. So I've grown up to be a nice, healthy, good weight.
Was it a big family?
3 of us. A brother, a sister and me. But then my mum's family's quite big, so you got like 7 sisters, 3 brothers. They're massive.
And how did your mum and dad meet?
They met in Glasgow at a party back in what's that? That's got to be, I'm born in 78. It's got to be back in the 60s. Yeah. They just bumped into each other and cracked on. I never really learned too much about exactly how they got together.
Yeah.
Like the true bits behind it, but I know they met each other in a party.
Listening to some Beatles or Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
What about your earliest memories?
To be honest with you, like I was explaining to you, my earliest memories of Glasgow is just being a little toe brag. Just out on the streets, vandalising cars, just being a real little pain in the arse, if I'm honest. Moving down to London, I can't really remember too much. But I know in London, I can remember one thing as clear as day, what I used to do in Scotland when I was growing up, is we used to break into Celtic football ground and nick the bottles because it had 10p caps on them. So you'd nick the bottles and you'd run round to the shop and sell the bottles back to the man in the shop to get your little 10 pences or your 5 pences. That is my clearest, vividest memory of what I used to do in Scotland.
So what about school?
Didn't really do much school, mate. I didn't do no school in Scotland. Moved down to London when I was 6. Again, when do you start primary school? Do you know what age that is?
Can't remember.
I can't remember. I've probably done about a year and a half of primary school and got kicked out for thieving.
Moving to the south then with your accent,
Yeah.
did that cause any situations?
No, none at all. Very quickly, I learned to be able to speak like the Cockney accent.
Yeah.
And then when I go home, Scottish to my mum and dad.
Right.
I couldn't talk Cockney to my mum and dad.
Yeah.
I'd get a slap.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Growing up with a Scottish family, you can't talk to them in English.
Yeah.
You have to speak. You've got to respect. It's like being Spanish and speaking to your parents in English when they're only speaking Spanish. It was how it was.
So other than all the crime stuff then at a young age, what were your interests?
As a kid,
Yeah.
skating.
Skating?
Yeah. That's where I got my nickname. I was just explaining to you my nickname that I said
How did you get
earlier
it?
on. So I was we always every day is what you used to do. You used to skate around, do what we was doing. It was a pastime. And one day I'm on my skates skating through parked cars, and a car's hit me and sent me up in the air. And as I've come down, I've head-butted a side window of a car, smashed it, jumped up, went, "Where's my chewing gums?" Picked my chewing gums up and just skated off. And everyone started calling me Boulder Head, like a brickhead. And from then it just stuck.
Nothing broken.
Nothing broken. The car window. Honestly, it was mad. Didn't hurt one bit, mate.
Yeah.
My pal was like, "That's fucking mental, mate. How's that? How have you just done that?" And we just skated off and away we went. The nickname stuck with me forever now.
Did you have any legit early jobs, like paper round or anything?
I had a milk round for Holloway Milk. What was it called now? It was in Holloway. Holloway Dairies, I think it was called. Or Sunshine Dairies, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a milk round for Sunshine Dairies. But I was nicking the bloody... Did I put the money in the bottles to leave for the milk, to pay for the milk the next morning? I'd fucking get to the bottles and nick the money out of the bottles and say to the fella that they didn't leave no money in the bottles. So I was already on that path, so to speak. I was just... I don't know why I went down that road or what made me be that person, but I was.
Were you surrounded by other kids that were on that same path, do you think? That was like peer pressure?
My family wasn't. So I don't know, usually you get taught and you get raised by your parents. They was good parents. They was never, I mean, dead straight. 1,000,000% straight. So where I started getting it from, initially it started in Scotland, like I said, when I used to get the bottles with the 10p caps, 5p caps. Coming down to London, we grew up in Kentish Town, northwest London. Quite a rough area, growing up back then in the 80s. And I think every other kid around you was doing the same.
Yeah.
So maybe a bit of peer pressure.
And were your parents finding out, were you getting arrested at an early age or anything, in trouble with teachers?
My mum found out that I was nicking the Apple money out of... So when we first come down, obviously we left Scotland, come down, I went to a primary school. My first primary school was called Brecknock. And hence why the shop that we're going to speak about in a bit is on the same road. It's kind of like a big 360. We left and we come back. My primary school was on Brecknock, and my mum found out that I was nicking from there when I come home with loads of 10p's. And all the 10p's were from walking around the classroom selling the apples. I used to bring my own apples in and sell them and nick their 10p's as well.
Where were you getting the apples from?
I'd just buy them from a fruit store, bring them into school with me, mix them in with all the other apples. So I knew I could have maybe 7 or 8 of them of my money, and then I'd take a few out of their money. And one day my mum's caught me with all the little 10p's and she went in ballistic.
Well, that's entrepreneurship, isn't it?
Well, I don't know, but a bit of both, isn't it? You're skimming their apples and you're bringing your own in. I'm not sure how people would look at that, but yeah.
What was your punishment?
I think I got locked in my room for a day.
How did that feel?
Horrible. She'd lock it from outside. The Venetian type doors with the little slats. So you could look through, but you can't get out. Oh, it was horrible, mate.
Did you try and sneak out?
No, you couldn't get out. The windows would be locked and the door would be locked from outside. You could not get out until your mum or dad let you out. And it would be always my mum that cracked first. My dad was quite hard. He'd get the belt out. He was tough.
What did he do, your dad?
Believe it or not, he was a bailiff. He worked for the High Courts.
Serious job, man.
Serious job, mate. Yeah, real straight goer. And there's me fucking messing up the apple cart, being in trouble from no age.
What was your next school up?
My next school up from Brecknock, Holloway Boys.
Holloway.
Yeah. Again, ran North London. I think I lasted there for about a month. Well, I've said 3 weeks before. Couldn't have been longer than 2 months. Expelled, gone.
That was just a pure boys' school, was it?
Pure boys' school, yeah.
Why did he send you just to a boys' school?
I ain't got a clue. I think maybe the only one that we could get fitted into.
Yeah.
Or that would, mate, it comes under like catchment areas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I ain't got a clue. I hated every minute of it, to be fair.
You?
Yeah. It was horrible, strict. And then one day I went in there and I'm not a fan of hitting people, but the teacher hit me and I hit them back. And they expelled me.
What?
That was my secondary school days.
Did he have a reason that he hit you?
No, just I was out being cheeky and give me a slap.
Yeah.
So I slapped him back. I was only 13 years old, 12, 13. That was it, expelled from there. So my mum and dad was on a bit of a rocky road at the time. My dad had moved out. I got launched to my dad's. So that was the end of Holloway Boys in North London. They moved me out of there. I moved out of there over to Kilburn to stay with my dad for a bit. And he got me into another secondary school, which I lasted probably 4 or 5 weeks for nicking all the laptops. They found out, and that was it, expelled from that. And that was my school, pretty much growing up. I hardly done any school.
And what was your mates back then?
My mates, they were all not doing the same as what I was doing in the schools, but they was all thieving, breaking into buildings, interfering with cars. I don't know how many times I've been arrested for breaking into cars. Screwdrivers and stuff and popping the locks and just stupid stuff that you do. Well, I was doing as you're growing up. But now that I look back on it and people say, like people say you have a little puff, it's going to progress into harder drugs. And you go, nah, don't be silly. Well, now I look back, I can see the progression into a bigger and worse crime, which started off from nicking bottle caps out of a football club.
Can you remember your first arrest? How'd he got you? What you'd done?
I can remember the first arrest. And the reason why I remember the first arrest is because he was friends with my dad. I say friends with my dad, but my dad got on with him. The old Bill, his name is Titch. Probably 7 foot tall, 4 foot wide. This old Bill was massive. It wasn't an arrest. He took me back to my dad's house. And my dad battered me, mate. He come back and said, I've just caught your son out there on Torriano Avenue, interfering with the motors. This is the one and only time I'm going to bring him home. The next time he's getting arrested. And my dad, did I get slaps. Well, in fact, it was a belt. But that's how it was back then. Titch, never forget him.
So when was the first time they took you into the cells?
He actually arrested me a few times after that.
Did he?
Yeah, for breaking into cars again. My younger crime days, although it sounds trivial, is what led to me being in prison the multiple times I've been into jail. Yeah. But you don't see it when you're doing silly little stuff. At least another 2 more times, he was the one to arrest me for actually breaking into cars. And the first time, my dad actually told him, back then, it's different to now. You can't tell them to leave you in the cell. My dad made them leave me in the cell on purpose all day. And it was fucking horrible, honestly. Obviously, little kid, I don't know, 13 years old. Was it even 13 or before that? I can't remember. School day, yeah, around about 13, 12, 13, yeah.
What was the atmosphere like in the cell?
Horrible, mate. Horrible. Back then, you didn't get, like, saying that, but now you get a 3-course meal and you get a cup of coffee and a cup of tea and all that. You didn't get that back then. Bloody hell, I'm 46 now, and that's when I was 12 years old. So what's that, 34 years ago? 34 years ago. Big difference to the way that it is now. And the old Bill left me in the cell on my dad's wishes.
I can remember getting frustrated.
Yeah, banging the doors, wanting to get out. They're just laughing at you. Didn't do nothing. The more you done it, the more they laughed. But you think it's going to bring attention to them and they're going to come and talk to you. No, mate. They just left you roasting.
Did they give you anything to eat?
Yeah. Like a sandwich. It was a sandwich back then, I think. It was a sandwich, yeah. And a little plastic cup of water. Little plastic thing that you'd peel and drink it. Worst food on the planet.
So you got battered by your dad the first time. Now you're in the cells. Is any of this deterring you?
No.
What's going through your head?
Well, obviously, all that's going through your head is you want to get out of the cell. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
So you promise, you swear to God, Dad, I won't do it. If you could speak to him, you give all the false intentions that it will never happen again. And then as soon as you're released, you're straight back at it. Even on the way home.
On the way home?
Yeah, well, obviously, when I say on the way home, your dad, he was there, he walks off, they've let you out, he's got the up now, he leaves you, I can walk back to the flats on my own. You're having a little peek on the way home to see what else is in motors. It's mad. And then you just, I don't know, I cannot explain why I didn't get deterred from a young age. One other thing as well, just to cap on, you're saying about get deterred. My dad actually caught me smoking when I was a little kid. And you know, back then, my dad made me smoke a whole cigar, like 2 puffs at a time, one after the other, and inhale every bit of it until the whole cigar was gone. And most people would say that would stop you smoking. No, the next day I was nicking the spliffs out of his ashtray and running upstairs and smoking in the same place that he caught me the day before. And I absolutely vomited all over the place after he made me do that. So it should deter you, but young and stupid, I don't know, I can't explain why.
So stealing things from the cars, was it the thrill or were you cashing the things in?
Cashing them in.
And what were you doing with the money?
Spending it. Just on puff, bits of sweets, biscuits. I used to love biscuits. Custard creams. I'd always have a packet of custard creams on me. Don't know why. It's like a little reserve tank for food. Because although back then my dad had a good job and my mum, they were still kind of together at the time, 11, 12, 13. There weren't really much money about. It's not like today. Back then, the money that they did have, they had to look after. So at a very young age, I started learning to fend for myself and provide my own food outside the house. So when I come back, if there weren't any food, I'd already kind of eaten. Yeah. That's how I was growing up. That's why I think I kept doing what I was doing, so that I knew I could always provide for myself.
And were you still skinny in your teens, or was your powerful build starting?
No, skinny. So my nickname, Bald Head, but Big Head. That stuck with me for pretty much most of my teenage years because I was little. But the older you get, you start going to the gym, you start filling out a little bit.
And did you have a girlfriend as a teenager?
Not really. So between 12 and kind of 14 is when I was progressing into harder crimes. It's gone from breaking and entering vehicles, bit of office burglaries. I'm now nicking computer chips. And I don't know if you know, back then, computer chips, I'm 14 years old, 15 years old. I kind of moved out of my ass now. I'm just fending for myself. 15, 16, I was out. Didn't live with my parents, completely, fully self-sufficient. When I was 14, I was robbing the computer chips. 15, And you're getting 20, 30, 40, 50 grand at a time.
What?
Absolutely insane. I got arrested for burglaries. I've been to prison. So there's nothing I'm not saying that could get me into trouble. I've been arrested and I've done my little bit of bird. I've been arrested for breaking into offices and the DNA's come back and stuff like that. So the first little bird the first girl that I met was around 15, like kind of you could call it a serious girl. But by that time, I had been getting the money from burgling and stuff like that. And I fell into the groove of smoking crack with these local lads. So although I could say it was my first girlfriend, it wasn't really like it should have been, because I'm out smoking crack every night of the week, spending all these thousands of pounds on crazy outfits that cost 6-7 grand an outfit to be walking about in that kind of clubber at that age. You thought you was the man, you got the little bird or the little girlfriend, but then you're smoking crack behind closed doors. And I kind of done that for a year and we split up.
Going back on a few things you said more slowly then, moving out of your parents' house, how did that feel? Was it liberating?
Yeah. If I'm honest, when I say moving out, I actually can't put a finger on exactly when it happened. No, in fact, you know what? I can put a finger on it when it happened. It was with that girl. 15 years old. I was staying with her at her house. And then I went to prison.
And was her parents around?
Yeah, her parents were around, yeah.
And they didn't mind you just staying there?
No, they didn't know I was smoking crack.
Right.
They just looked at me as good old little Johnny. They didn't really know about my criminal activities, what I was doing, the fact it was getting worse. And I went to prison. I went to prison for the first time when I was 15 years old, to Portland.
Right, going back to the crack first.
Yeah.
Because my best mate, he died a couple of years ago, Wild Man his name was. He was heavily into smoking the crack and the meth in America. Mm. He stayed up for weeks on it. He loved it. And he had me try it. And coming from the rave scene, ecstasy and all that,
yeah,
I tried it and it was like, lasted a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Like, what's that about, you know?
Yeah.
I'd rather take an E, dance my ass off for 5 hours.
Yeah.
What gripped you about it in the beginning as a young person?
Do you know what? I think back, this is how I see it. Obviously, I've evaluated what I've done in my past, how it got me to that point in my life. And I think back then, it was fashionable. That's the truth. Nah,
the 80s,
people frowned upon it.
Was it the 80s?
Yeah.
All that stuff from
you
America.
You could smoke a joint in a club, bottle of champagne, light up a crack joint, and you'd be like a little mini film star, so to speak. You lit a crack joint up now, people wouldn't stand near you. Everyone would go, look at that crackhead. So I don't know whether it was I'm doing something that's really cool, which is how it started. But then how it started was smoking a spliff. I didn't start piping it. Put a little bit of it in a joint, have a joint, and then you get a bit buzzing off that. And then like anything, the progression, it led from a joint to actual crack pipes. To like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning in bloody underground car parks down Shaftesbury Avenue. It just, that, before you look, you think, you know, it's gone from that to that in less than a year. And now you're full on the crack.
And what I noticed about my mate, when he was full on it, it eroded his conscience. He was blank.
Yeah.
And he became more psychopathic.
Yeah.
Did you find those?
Well, no, to be honest with you, what made the thing that gave me the light bulb, this is f***ed up, is the girl my girlfriend at the time, I was only a little kid. It's your first girlfriend. It's not even true love. It's nothing. It was just the girl at the time. Her dad was a record producer, and for my 16th birthday, he took us on holiday to New York, Jamaica, and LA, Miami. And one day I woke up when I was on holiday and thought, what are you doing, man? You're smoking. You're a crackhead, mate. You're behind the scenes, a crackhead. You've got your girlfriend at the time. What's going on? I come back and I stopped smoking crack, just like that.
And never went back?
Never went back.
Oh, well done.
And then she left me about 2 weeks later. So I was happy. It didn't bother me. It did bother me a little bit. She left me, but I had now stopped smoking crack and started. I was doing silly things like selling my gold chains and lying to my family and lying to my mum. She's saying, you're losing weight. Why are you losing weight? Like, I was lying to everybody. I was quite good at it, to be fair. Not a lot of people knew I'd done it, but I knew that was no way for me to live. So that was it.
So let's set the table on the first arrest that put you in prison then. What led up to that?
What led up to that?
Yeah.
The little prison.
The first little prison, yeah, let's do that one.
That was HMP Portland.
Yeah.
Like a Borstal.
But what led up to you going into that? What was the crime?
That in fact, it weren't 16 I'd done that. That was just before. So that was 14 or 15. Common assault.
What was the situation? Where were you?
School kid up around where I live in northwest London. I had a little bit of an argument with a school kid, gave him a couple of slaps. Got arrested for it. Got 6 months.
Arrested on the spot?
Not arrested on the spot. They went, chased, got the old bill, come back. Obviously back then, you don't think of changing your tops because you've been spotted hitting somebody and they've got the description of the person that's done it. So you still just walk around the plate like the manner like you own the gaff. We didn't own the gaff. Obviously the old bill had been called. The kid had a couple of slaps. They come and pointed me out. We got arrested. I got arrested at least.
How did your parents find out?
I wasn't really living with them at the time as cousins, the girlfriends, like bits and bobs here and there. I told them. I told them. I can remember I was telling them that I think I'm going to go to prison for this one. And they did. They gave me 6 months.
What was that like, though, telling your parents?
Mate, horrible. It was horrible, but I didn't really... It's horrible now I look back and reflect on how they tried to raise me as a nice, normal, proper boy. And I was the one who went against the grain. But you don't see it until, in hindsight, when you actually look back and think, wow, what I've put my mum and dad through since, with what my brother's got up to. He's went to jail because of me, he got a 10. Like, the shit we've put her through with my dad, it's bad. But now, I think I'm repaying for that. We'll touch on that in a minute.
So you're going into a young offenders, is it, Portland?
Yeah, I go into a young offender. Well, they sent me to Feltham for about a week.
Feltham, what was that like?
Oh, gang city, mate. You had to fight there. There was no option.
How did you fit in?
Yeah, I didn't fit in. I didn't. I was like, I did not fit in.
So what happens first day you go in? There's like intake.
First day you go in, you're straight away on the guard, mate. People are trying to put it on you straight away, trying to test you, see how far they can push you before you either want to have a fight, or, either before you want to have a fight, or you're going to back down. They want to see who's the strong ones and who's the weak ones, because the weak ones get preyed upon, 100%. You know that. That's how it is in prison. If you ain't strong, or at least show a strong front, you might not be strong, but you can blag it, you can bluff it. As soon as you show weakness, you're
And how big were these kids?
just the same size as me, 14, 15, 16-year-old kids. But ones that had probably been in and out of jail, that knew what it was like in there and knew what to expect. I'd never been in jail before. I'd done quite a lot of police cells. Never actually been in prison, locked up, where you got your little card to go and get your canteen and the man behind you's trying to nick the canteen off you, so now you're having a tear up in the hallways. I'd never done that. They have, so they knew what to expect, but it was horrible. But I survived.
Did you have to make friends fast?
Not really. I wasn't really that person back then, to be fair. I kind of kept myself to myself, but I weren't weak, so I didn't show I was weakness, but I did keep myself to myself.
So that was Feltham and then Portland?
Feltham. I only done about 2 weeks there.
2 weeks there.
I was happy that they moved me out of there, to be fair. That is really bad. Like I said, back in the 80s. Yeah, 80s, 90s.
Was it dorms or cells?
Cells.
Cells.
You did have dorms, but I was in a cell. But it got even worse for me. They moved me from Feltham to Portland YRY, which is an actual boot camp stroke Borstal run by officers, like army geezers. So I've come out of one crap hole into another crap hole.
What's your first day there like?
Absolutely horrible, mate. I could never ever forget and never get it out of my mind when I went and got my dinner plate and like the tray that you put the food on, there's a yellow line on the floor. You have to march to your cell. And if he catches up with you, he give you a clump in the back and your food's all over the gaff and you got no dinner for that evening. And I mean proper, not march like as in fucking run, but marching with your plate so that you don't catch you. And I thought, what the f*** is this? This is bad. And then the next morning the door opens up, mandatory PE. I puked my guts up everywhere, mate. You didn't have a choice whether you wanted to do it or not. You was doing PE and that is it, or you're getting battered by the screws.
What were the exercises?
Burpees and all nutty stuff that you've never even heard of as a 15, 16-year-old. And I've done that for nearly 2 months, 2 weeks. You had to ship parcels, slop out. There was no toilets. You had to actually put in a bucket and then it would sit in the bucket all night until you got let out in the morning to empty the bucket. But what people used to do, we call it a ship parcel. You'd wrap it up in a bit of newspaper and lob it out the window. But if they caught the ship parcels out the window the next day, the whole side of that wing got banged up with no exercise. So you better be careful that no one sees you doing it because you'll have the whole wing wanting to fight you. But then you got the option of sitting with a load of shit in your cell all night.
Did you
get a bit of a sticky one? Literally.
Did you get any situations though?
No. I think it's like I've been to prison a few times after that, and I think if you go into prison with the attitude that you're the man, you're going to be cut down very, very fast because you might be a bad boy outside or even a gangster outside, but in jail, you're a number, mate. There is no gangsters. You'll have the smallest man in there go up to the biggest, baddest, supposedly strongest man on the out, stab him up, cut him up, whatever you want to say, it happens. So I never had that. I'm not that person anyway to have the attitude and I'm big and bad. So I think that kind of got me through. Just being me, not trying to be anybody. I'm not. And people like that.
Did you reflect or were you too young at that stage?
I used to pray. I promise, like I said, swearing, praying, I'm not going to do it again, wishing that I could get released. And Portland, pretty sure, it's like near the White Cliffs of Dover, if I'm crap with geography. But I know it's down by the coast, Poole, Dorset, down that way. Didn't get no visits. No one come to see me. So all you could do is reflect. And you couldn't even, well, I say reflect. You had to reflect at night time. You're either reading a book or you're thinking. Because you couldn't talk. If the screws heard you speaking to your next door man out the window, your door would fly open and you get battered. And I mean fists, not slaps, battered.
And were you battered a few times?
Once. And I weren't even talking. He kicked my door open and went, Adair, I told you to fucking not crack, give me a chin me for no reason. I was like, I weren't speaking. I think it was 2 other boys next to me or the 2 cells away from me that was talking with each other. For some reason, he thought I was speaking, but I didn't. I weren't. And I got a proper dig for it, yeah.
And could you see the light at the end of the tunnel for when you were going to get out?
To be honest with you, I was already thinking about doing bigger and better crimes. From the boys you meet up with, I personally think prison doesn't work. I don't know if you've spoke to a lot of people. You go into, it's a classic example. My first time in police cells is for breaking and entering offices, nicking out of cars. Then I get a common assault. I go to prison. I'm in prison now. I come out. You meet other prisoners in prison. They're not in there speaking about how they're going to change their lives and come out and go down the right roads. They're in there almost conspiring about what the next crime's going to be. So that's what I was doing.
So you clicked up with some more serious people.
Yeah, you're networking, to be fair.
When you got released from that one, where did you go live?
when I got released from that one, I went to North London, back to obviously the manor.
Know what that means? Ooh, I've been hearing that a lot lately. That's what I hear when we make another sale on Shopify, the all-in-one commerce platform to start, run, and grow your business. Shopify is the commerce platform revolutionizing millions of businesses worldwide. Whether you're selling Pokemon cards or hoodies, Shopify simplifies selling online and in person so you can successfully grow your business. Covering all your sales channels from a shopfront-ready POS system to its all-in-one e-commerce platform. Shopify even gets you selling across social media marketplaces like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Full of the industry-leading tools ready to ignite your growth, Shopify gives you complete control over your business and your brand without learning new skills in design or coding. And thanks to award-winning help and with an extensive business course library, Shopify is ready to support your success every step of the way. What's lovely about Shopify is that no matter how big you want to grow, Shopify will be there to empower you with the confidence and control to take your business to the next level. It's time to get serious about selling and get Shopify today. This is Possibility, powered by Shopify. Sign up for a £1 per month trial period at shopify.co.uk/Sean, SHAUN, all lowercase. Go to shopify.co.uk/Sean to take your business to the next level today. Shopify.co.uk/Sean. Link in description box if you're watching this on YouTube. Thanks for supporting our sponsor. Back to the podcast. Cheers.
Can't remember how I got onto the I can't even remember the name of the housing association. I think it might actually have been through prison, to be fair. I'm almost positive, yeah, it was through prison. They introduced me to somebody who I spoke to, a housing association, and then they ended up giving me like a little one room at the top of Jamestown Road called Kilby's Yard. They gave me a little one room there, and from there I evolved on to get like a council flat. 16, 17 years old as a result, mate.
But you were maintaining the crime throughout.
Yeah, well, now I'm starting, I don't know when you want to touch on that, now we've progressed into more serious crime within the first few weeks of being out.
And what was that progression?
Selling coke.
Selling the white.
Yeah, selling the white, yeah.
And how did you source the white?
Boys, people I knew, obviously growing up around the manor, older boys, people you looked up to when you was a little kid thinking, I want what they got. You know, you see the lads with the nice watches and the nice cars and you're a little bit younger than them and you're that minded, you want that. Sad to say, but you do. You want to evolve to be like them. They're your role models. Shouldn't be that way, but that's how it was.
Is it all by territory?
Well, it wasn't like that back in our day. Nowadays, you see it on the TV, you got what do they call it? Postcode wars. Like North London can't deal with West London, or West London can't deal with East London. Or that wasn't back like then. You could sell drugs on that side of the street and then walk across the other side of the street and sell drugs on that side of the street. Everybody kind of worked together. Not that it's a good thing or a bad thing. Now you should be able to do it, or you shouldn't be able to do it, because obviously it's against the law, but it weren't like that back then. So everyone just grafted with each other. Whoever you could get it from, you got it from. And whoever you could sell it to, you sold it to.
What were your major challenges early on?
To be honest with you, I didn't really have any major challenges earlier on. But I can remember how I started. I started off with 3.5 grams of white. And I made it into 7 grams. So I bashed it up, so to speak. That's what they call it.
Yeah.
That's how I can remember actually doing it.
What did you cut it with?
I've cut it, New Era, teething tablets.
Right.
Little baby teething tablets. Crush that up and you mix it up with it, and then obviously you break it up and away you go.
And did you have like lookouts for cops and stuff like that?
No, I never really, I was quite doing my own thing, but with my little network around me. So now I'm like 16, 17, starting to sell a little bit of sniff. Obviously all them stupid clothes that I used to wear, the Bugs Bunny waistcoats and all them nutty iceberg and Moschino shit. I've stopped all that now. Now I'm just dressing like a normal person. a couple £100 outfit, maybe £100 outfit. So now I'm just, but I don't want to stand out. 15, 16, all the crack, nutty thoughts, like you said. What did you call it? You said like fucking psychosis and...
Wildman had paranoia and psychopathy and his conscience was eroded.
Yeah, you do stuff you wouldn't normally do.
Because you were on it as well. Were you breaking Scarface's law?
What's that?
Getting high off your own supply.
To be fair, yeah. But you couldn't get that high because you only had an eighth.
Yeah.
3.5 grams. Obviously, the older I got and the more drugs I started to do, you could start snapping corners off.
Yeah.
And giving it to the old party and not even blink an eyelid. But back then, when you started, 3.5 grams only turns into 7. You could only sniff so much before you're now in the negative.
Was it all cash or were you doing credit?
No, all cash. All cash.
So then you don't have problems with debts and things.
Yeah, that's it. You try and get it on a Thursday or a Friday, get all the lads that are going out that evening, quickly get your little bit of money, cash in, you got your bit of wages for the weekend.
What year are we on now?
I'm 17 years old, so I'm 46. I'm not bad at maths, but under these big lights.
What year were you born?
78.
78, so 88.
88, so...
middle of the 90s.
There you go.
So that's like raving has already happened and everything like that. Did you get into any of that?
Yeah. I used to go to Bagley's.
Bagley's.
I used to actually knew the head security. I was 17 years old. Paul Robbins, his name is. Never forget him. I used to go there, he'd get me in, sneak me in. I was too young to get in there. Round the back, through the back doors. He'd get me in. Now I'm bowling about in there with the bottles of champagne, giving it the big licks, selling fake pills. Sudafeds. I used to put them underwater and rub the colour. It was like a kind of a red colour. You'd put them underwater, rub the red colour off and sell it to people. They'd come back to you half an hour later, mate, they're the bollocks. Have you got another one? I'd think you soppy. They're fucking fake pills, mate. So yeah, I did do a bit of that raving.
Yeah.
That kind of era. Mm-hmm. Jungle Splash, back to 90, whatever it was, or back to 89.
Yeah.
That kind of...
Because I left the country in 91, but the only club I came in the south, because I'm a northerner, was the Fridge in Brixton.
Yeah. I never actually went to that. Mine was always the Cross Club, Bagley's, Legends. Yeah, there's too many to mention. But yeah, I've done a bit of the club.
And as you're moving up the ranks then, what's your social, like, do you have a lot of mates, or are they more like just people getting high with you kind of people?
No. My old man always said to me, I can never forget him saying to me, listen, mate, because he now sees that my head's screwed on. Although I'm a criminal, there's nothing he can do about it now. It is what it is. He'd say to me, mate, when you get into trouble, you will not be able to count your friends on one hand. The old saying. And I used to go, shut up, Dad, don't be silly. These are my pals, mate. So I had a good little selection of friends. But looking back on it, they're just people you hanged about with, not true friends.
How long did that run last when you were 17?
So from 16, 17, started off with a 3.5. Obviously doing boxes of green as well, but they're just quick flips, so to speak. The main money maker was the white. Probably, I bought my first house when I was 19 years old. So that shows you how quickly I progressed.
And was any trouble starting to arise at that point with the cops or anything?
No. Absolutely none. I had bookie mortgage advisors on the firm, bent surveyors. I had everybody to make it happen. And to be fair, the mortgage wasn't hooky that I got, but that was the first time that was my first house. From 17 to 19, it evolved pretty quickly, mate, to be fair.
And what led to your next prison?
Getting too big. So obviously 16, 17, 18, now you're buying the nice watches, you're driving the nice cars, everybody's talking about you, look at them, or at least the ones that don't like you have got the green eye. You think you're the new kid on the block, but they're all doing the same thing. People get the ump that you might be doing a bit better than them. Obviously, you've got your little close circle that are happy because you're doing the same as them or with them. But then it kind of went from selling 3.5 grams to selling 9 bars to selling kilos, multiple kilos. Now you've just got stupid amounts of money.
Still as a teenager, or is that in your 20s? Teenager.
Yeah. Well, think about it. I bought a house when I was 19 years old.
And doing a deal at that age of that size, was that a bit intimidating for you, or was it just natural?
No, natural. Didn't blink an eyelid.
Did you have to take some muscle with you?
No. No, not at all. Just that was me. Not trying to be nothing. It was actually my partner who pulled it off. Good friend of mine, so there was no issues there.
So you just took to it naturally?
Naturally. Then I started getting other people mortgages. Now I'm actually getting people mortgages and getting commissions from real property deals. So I'm kind of trying to get out of that shit, thinking I can go straight here. Like this can work.
So you did have an exit plan already?
I had an exit plan. My exit plan, to be fair, 17, 18, 19, first house, got my few friends' mortgages. Now I'm starting to think like an entrepreneur. I want to go down the property route. About 21 years old, I went and done so much scuba diving that I was 2 steps away from being a qualified instructor. 21 years old, criminal. I've now nearly got my ticket to move to the Bahamas, Jamaica. In my head, I'm thinking I'm going to go and open up a little scuba hut and all this off. I'm gone. But I didn't realise that the progression and how quickly we unfold, or at least I unfolded, I'm being watched in my 20s, surveyed, bugged by the old Bill.
But you weren't aware at the time?
Didn't have a f***ing clue.
What was the first indication of any trouble?
The first indication of any trouble was I come out of one of the second houses I bought. So now I've got 2 houses by the time I'm 21. And I've come out of one of them and I've seen this geezer, right? I could hear my alarm going off. And it kept happening every night. I had the underground car park. So I keep leaning out the window, pressing the button to turn the alarm off. I'm thinking, what's going on with this fucking car? So one day, I thought, let me go and have a look. Something must be wrong. And as I'm walking down the stairs, he's coming up from the basement. I'm coming down from the first floor. He's seen me, run out the door. And when I say pelted. I turned the alarm off and I thought that was fucking weird. Well, when I did get arrested, which we'll go on to, that was him putting the tracker on my car. Either putting it on or taking it off. I can't remember, to be fair. But that was them surveilling me. That was police. It come out in the report. That was old Bill.
At the time, what was your interpretation of it?
At the time, for a minute, I thought old Bill. But then went, nah, don't be f***ing stupid. Never in a million years, mate.
Just being paranoid.
I'm just being paranoid. That's because of the sniff I sniffed last night. Or something. Like, you just brush it off. You don't think that it really is that.
Did you have a legal plan, like a lawyer on retainer or anything?
No. I wasn't that clever with that. I wasn't that. I had a solicitor that I used all the time that was like a friend. Not a friend, but I've been arrested that many times. He was the man I called. But we speak. I had his personal number. I'd have a beer with him. I had him on the tap. And I've rang him every single time I've ever got arrested. And I'd still ring him today.
So what was the next bit of trouble?
Well, after that initial thinking I've seen the policeman, didn't see the policeman, goes on for about another year of being followed. And one day, I've got to go to Liverpool to do a trade. So I drives up there, going down to 40. This is how I seen old Bill in the services on the way up. I thought he's too fat to be old Bill. He's too small to be old. I just kept making excuses of why it definitely wasn't. Previous days to that, I'd see people in plumbing vans. Never in a million years are you being followed by a plumber. All these little things kept on happening, but I'll never forget it. The day I set off for Liverpool, I get to Liverpool. I knew people up there to go and have a trade with. And I'm doing the speed limit along this 40-mile-an-hour zone, coming into the main part of Liverpool. Pulls up at the traffic lights, and the old Bill tapped his badge on my window. So he's leant out of his car and tapped it on my passenger door window. Tapped it on, and I rolled the window down. Went, "Can I help you, mate?" He went, "You know, you was just doing 60 in a 40 mile an hour zone." I said, "Are you sure?" I said, "I don't think I was." He went, "You was?" I went, "Well, I do apologise. I'm not from round here. It's not my area. Just up seeing friends." Rolled the windows up and away I went. Well, now, when I get arrested, I got nicked up there. I didn't know I was being followed the whole way from London. The same man that put that under my car, the same operation. Didn't realise. I get to Liverpool, go into my mother-in-law's house. I'm there for about half an hour. They come flying through the door with guns, don't they? Get on the floor. But I managed to get out the back door. I slid the back door up and got over the fence, jumped over a few fences and slid and fell into this woman's front in her kitchen. She went, "Ah!" Started screaming. I was like, "Shush, shush, shush, please, please, please. The lads are chasing me, the lads are chasing." "Who's chasing you?" I said, "Please don't, please, please." Anyway, I've calmed her down, got speaking to her. This is nuts though, check this out. Her old man's in jail 14 years for drug smuggling. So once I've said who I was with, she's went, "Don't worry, lad." Got me a change of clothes, rang the lads up, and got me out of there.
Good on you if you're watching.
I swear to God, mate. I sent her flowers. I couldn't believe it. If not that it's good, but at the time you think, thank for that.
Yeah.
If that would have happened in London, there's no way they're giving you a change of clobber. And I mean a full change of clothes. She got her husband's clothes out of his wardrobe. He's in doing a 14 and give me a full rig out. Rang my people. They come round. Old Bill, helicopters are still there. 3 hours later, trying to see where I am. They managed to get me out, put me under the back seats, put the blankets over it, sat on the car and driven me away, and away I got. All of that was the same operation. So the old Bill that tapped on the window, they was just, I don't know what you'd even call that. They're just noting that this is the man. We've got him. This is him. He's here now, John Adair. We've got your man. He's on the such and such a road. They was keeping track of me.
Yes.
And I think they needed to just confirm it was definitely me once I entered Liverpool, because now it's a different police squad. I don't know why they done it. But yeah, the shit hit the fan that day.
How long were you on the lam for?
Well, I'm from Glasgow. Well, like you know, I'm born in Glasgow, so I've obviously shot straight back up to Glasgow, where my family are. My family are very big, infamous crime family from up there. Probably one of the biggest infamous crime stories that have ever happened in Glasgow. You might have heard about it, the ice cream wars.
Oh, yeah. We've interviewed Johnny Steele.
That's my uncles.
Wow.
First uncles.
Wow.
Yeah, they're my family. So I've shot up there, gone back up and thinking, right, I'm out of the way here now. I'm protected. I'm sweet. No one's going to find out where I am. Probably 3 or 4 months I was up there. I didn't tell anybody where I was, apart from the lads up there. I walk out the house one day, SO19, get on the floor. SO19 and Strathclyde Police, 2 different teams. And they teamed me, one in front, one in behind, me in the middle. All the way back to HMP Liverpool. Well, not HMP Liverpool, in fact, what's the, Everton, police station in Everton. Can't remember the exact name of it. They drove me back there. But my intentions were, I thought, because I won't say who the co-D was at the time, the name of him, but I had somebody in that house that got arrested at the time. I managed to get out the back door and gone. He's got nicked. So I'm thinking, if I can stay out the way till he's been charged, I'm going to just go and hand myself in and say, it weren't me. It was him, mate. I can't grasp on someone that's been sentenced already. Yeah, you get my point?
Yeah.
If you said that before that, you're a wrong un. You're getting weighed in, and it's just not my cup of tea. So I thought, if I can stay out long enough for him to be sentenced, I'll go and have myself in. Well, they got me a week before his trial. I was gutted, mate. I thought, mate. But then I thought to myself, now I'm in the police station. Now I'm hearing all the details, all the intel, all the trackers, all the shit they'd been doing for nearly a year and a half, almost every day, that I didn't see. I thought it ain't fair on him to be getting arrested. So I had a little plan in mind that when we went to court, now he's postponed his trial date because now we both got to get trialed at the same time. It didn't work out like that. I actually, when we stood up in court on the starting of the trial date, I said, "Excuse me, Ron, I want to have can I speak, please?" I said, he didn't know what I was doing. That's all my doing. I'll bring them drugs with me from London. He didn't even know they was in the boot. And the judge didn't have it.
He wouldn't have it?
Would not have it, mate. I stood up and said it in front of everybody. The judge would not have it. So they ended up, after the trial and after the summing up and stuff, me on a guilty plea, I got 8 years. And they give him 4 years for knowing what I was doing. Knowingly concerned in the supply of Class A drugs. Conspiracy.
When you were reading all the surveillance, what was going through your head?
I should have followed my gut instinct. I knew, like I knew I was being followed, but kept on palming it off. No, they ain't following me. They don't know what we're doing, what I'm doing.
Where were you placed on remand?
HMP Liverpool, Walton.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's where I'm from. I'm from near Liverpool and Manchester.
How are you?
Yeah, Widnes.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, I know. I've got quite a few friends up there.
Yeah.
That's an introduction to prison. From your pet, I've done Feltham a few times, to be fair, but your Felthams to your Borstal, Portland. Now I'm in HMP Liverpool. They're real badasses, proper gangsters. Yeah.
And did you adapt through your laying low style?
To be fair, I didn't have to do that then. Actually, you know, I said I was going up there to see somebody.
You were with people.
I knew people up there. I went into prison. I'd already been told what to say before I got there. Don't forget my code's a Scouser. He's with me now. He's a very well-known Scouser. So now we're sweet, but we got separated. But I just mentioned a couple of names of the people that I was with, even though I'm from London. And from pretty much day one, I was not looked after, but I was one of the lads. I'm the same as them. I'm not this little mug who's come up from North London, thinks he can sell drugs in our area. I'm actually one of you's lot. So I was sweet. I didn't have to try and be myself. I just be me anyway.
How long were you on remand for?
6 months.
6 months.
Before the sentencing, yeah.
And
5-6
were
months.
various possible sentences going through your head during that period, or did you pretty much know what you were going to get?
Yeah, my barrister told me I'd probably get 12 years. I went, first drug thing, 12 years. I've pleaded guilty. And it was, 8 years after the guilty.
Is that 50%?
30% they knocked off.
30%.
And give me an 8. So it's not far off of it, was it?
Yeah. So when you're sentenced, do they move you?
Nah, they didn't. Well, obviously, I've got connections in there now. So not only did I get a reception job, which be hard done for a Scouser to get a reception job in that jail, because there's probably 1,200 prisoners, 1,600 prisoners, I can't remember exactly, it's roughly that, innit? About 1,600 prisoners who all want the reception job. I got the reception job, didn't I? Because of the lads I knew.
Did that cause some resentment?
They was fuming. They was fuming, mate. This cockney but obviously I'm with the boys in that, so no one can say nothing. It is what it is. You just got to suck it up. It is it. That's it. I'm on the reception. But obviously you look after the lads. You give them the new boxer shorts, the new socks. You build up your little friends that way as well, because you want to look after the good ones. Obviously the shits, you give them all the ones with the holes in it and the crap stuff. But yeah, so I just kind of built up a good little clientele of friends. I kept in touch with one or two of them, which I probably swapped numbers of 30 or 40. I think I'm not even two. One I kept in touch with the whole time.
If it was going smoothly for you, was the mayhem happening around you?
Mayhem. People.
What kind of mayhem?
Obviously fights. I had a fight there. I had one fight.
What was the build up to that?
Geezer's accusing me of wearing his vest. I'll never forget it, a black Nike vest. Like, we're in the gym and all that. I'm standing out where the dinner is. Obviously, I'm pally. I'm on the reception, so I can hang about when everyone else is getting shuttled off to their cells. I'm still talking to the boys on the server and that, and we're talking, and I can hear this geezer keep saying, "Hey, lad, what are you doing with my vest?" Like, I'm not going to do the Scouse accent. I can't do it. But he's doing it in a Scouse accent. "What are you doing with my vest on?" I'm like, mate, drop me out. This ain't your vest. This is my vest, mate. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. And the screw, one of the screws was standing, obviously you get the screws, they stand by the survey line to just make sure everyone's feeding and shuffling on. I said to the screw, mate, please do not let that fella come nowhere near me because I am going to weigh him in. I'm telling you now, you can hear him. I'm telling you now, do not let him come near me. So they've unlocked that side of the gate, in there. You've got two separate parts of the wing. They've unlocked his side of the wing. He's walked in, he's come up trying to give it to me. So I weighed him in.
He had it coming.
He had it coming. I told the screw, do not let him come near me. I'm going to weigh him in. And to be fair with the screw, he didn't nick me. He said, you did tell me. I seen him approach you, trying to come for you first. It is what it is. So, that was my only little run-in with trouble that I had to actually defend myself. But I seen crazy shit in there. People with Glocks. Real Glocks.
Glocks?
I promise you, mate. I kid you not. I was in there 2003 to 2005, and I actually witnessed a Glock inside HMP Liverpool. Fucking the nuttiest jail, one of the nuttiest jails I've ever been in. I've done quite a few prisons since then, on my second prison sentence and that. But yeah, that gaff's mental, mate.
I heard about zip guns and stuff.
No, mate, real Glocks, mate. The whole gaff got locked down. They got it. Yeah, crazy.
Was people getting jugged or anything like that?
Jugged, stabbed.
Stabbed.
Yeah.
Mostly over drug debts.
Drug debts, tins of mackerel, tins of tuna. You borrow a tin of tuna, you didn't give it back, you're getting served up. Obviously, Grassy's got it anyway. Yeah, I've seen quite a few bits.
What was the worst?
Just stabbing. A stabbing 4 or 5 times over a tin of tuna in that place. But I mean a proper stabbing.
Just over a tin of tuna?
Over a tin of tuna, 69p. 70p, I think it was at the time. I seen an even worse one than that, though, when I got my second prison sentence down here. Me, mate. I'll tell you about that in a minute.
We'll get to that one. So, are you behaving yourself then during this sentence?
This sentence, behaving myself. Worst thing about it is, though, now I'm wrapped around serious criminals. I've gone from petty criminal to bringing myself up the ladder, selling cocaine, going to prison for cocaine. But now I'm wrapped around people, they're doing 25s and 30s for 300-400 kilos of cocaine. So you can imagine, obviously I've kept in touch with one of them. I won't, obvious reasons why I kept in touch with that one. But now you're wrapped around serious people. Although, when I say I kept in touch, I mean I'm physically still in touch with one of them now. Friends, we've become really good friends. I did keep in touch with a few of them, started grafting with a few of them. No, my bad, my bad. No, I didn't. Yeah, so I kept in touch with one of them, but I'm keeping my head down in there.
So as you're getting closer to your release, what are you planning?
Closer to my release, so how it unfolded, obviously I've got all these ideas of coming out now and doing even more. I'm swapping number. I didn't keep in touch with them, but I'm swapping numbers. I'm networking. This man, I've met a couple of Colombians. I'm thinking, F me, I've got the link now. I've got the direct access. Trying to swap the numbers, keeping in touch with everybody. I want to come out and do even worse than what I've done before to quickly get. Don't forget that I lost my houses. They give me a confiscation order. It was only £55,000 I give to them in cash, Scottish money, back then. They took it, believe it or not. Or I'd have had to serve another 2 years in prison. So I thought that's not happening. So I pretty much come out with nothing. But in my head, I want to amass it quickly now. Because now my little idea of going away to a little Caribbean island and being a scuba instructor, that's f***ed. I've lost the gaff that I was living in. It's all gone tits up. Old bill on it, confiscation order, give the bit of money across. Now I've got to get something back when I come out. So my idea was that I'd just go straight back to crime.
What part of the country are you going to base yourself in this time?
London. I'm always going to go back to London. Yeah, but my girlfriend at the time, I didn't know her. I went to prison. I met her a year and a half before I went to prison, and then done 4 years in prison. So from the end of 2003 to 2007, she stuck by me.
Wow.
I didn't know her. Imagine you be with somebody a year and a half and then you get
It's
an 8.
unusual.
She sticks beside you. So now I'm thinking, this bird loves me.
So this podcast is brought to you with sponsor NordVPN. Not only is it super secure with NordVPN, but if you want to watch something, if you're in a foreign country, for example, I've got my documentary coming out with Sammy the Bull in September 26th in America. If you're in the UK, you can't see it here. Use the VPN, NordVPN. It will get you in and you'll be able to watch it. As you can see, I've got my VPN on the United States presently. The most VPN providers are offering online threat protection, but when you look closely, it's just simple DNS filtering. NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro offers advanced digital protection from malware and online threats. If you're downloading a file and you're worried that something is attached to it, Threat Protection Pro checks it for malware. For a while, I couldn't click on any links. It was driving me mad. My channel got hacked when I clicked on a false sponsored ad link, and I lost my channel for days. Well, you can rest easy. Threat Protection Pro blocks websites that are fake, malicious, or used for phishing, fraud, or scams. Gets rid of the pop-ups flooding your screen? Yep. It gives you a completely smooth browsing experience. NordVPN protects you from the various attacks: man-in-the-middle attack, phishing, password attacks, DDoS, malware, malvertising, ransomware, half of which I have suffered. No more, thanks to NordVPN. If you're watching this on YouTube, the link is in the description box below this video and the pinned comment. NordVPN are helping sponsor these podcasts, and you can get 4 months extra on a 2-year plan at my link, https nordvpn.com/Atwood. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee.
At least I've got to do is try and stick with it. She showed me she was loyal. She stuck with me. So I don't know whether I felt guilty or not. But I get moved from HMP Liverpool to a prison further up called Haverick in Cumbria. I want to get moved closer to London. So they've moved up to Haverick. From Haverick, they've moved me to Kirkham. And then from Kirkham, for the last 8 months, they moved me to, you might have heard of this place, Latchmere House. It's an old school gaff. It's not there no more. They've developed it into flats. So they moved me back down to Latchmere House, which is an open prison. Obviously, I've still got this girl that I'd met before I went to prison. She still stuck by me. And within the first few months, she's pregnant with my first kid from open prison. So all my ideas of being a super criminal and going mad at it again, that's now all gone out the window, isn't it?
But you're only in your mid-20s, aren't you still?
Yeah, I went away when I was 23 and come out when I was 27.
And did having the kid calm you down a bit?
Within a blink.
Did
Done.
it?
That's it. I'm not being a criminal no more.
Wow.
That fast. As quick as that. Absolutely not in a million years am I going back to crime.
So what changed that?
Nothing changed that. I never did go back to crime. This is the weird thing about it. I never actually committed crime again.
Okay.
Obviously, being the person I am, my entrepreneurial way, connections that I know, people that I know, the mortgage advisors, the this and that and whatnot, I know I can make money legit,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't have to be your money. I believe if you've got a good enough idea and story and you can present it in such a way to people that have got the money, they'll either back you or they won't. Simple as that. All these big businessmen, Bransons and people like that, they go and get investors to invest into their businesses. They don't use their own hard-earned cash. So obviously I've got to blag it now. I ain't got nothing. I've come out, but I don't want to go back to prison. I've got responsibilities. So between 27, 28, I start getting back into the property, start doing little property flips. I'm not buying them. I'm arranging the deals. So you want to buy it, he's selling it. We'll flip it. Nick your commission. That's what I started doing. Between 27 and 28. And within a year, I managed to get enough property to buy a house in Chiswick.
Because that was when there was the credit crunch, wasn't it? All the property prices went down.
That's right, yeah. Within a year and a half, I think it was, I managed to save up enough money to buy a property in Chiswick. And then within the next 2 years after that, to 2000, I got out 27 to 28 and a bit, 29, 210, nearly 211. Through the properties that I'd flipped and the money that I got, I managed to get another 2 gaffs worth nearly £1.5 million to 2 million quid between them. So now I'm sitting with 2.5, 3 million quid's worth of properties in the first 2.5 years of being out. Straight.
Wow.
Legit.
Yeah. That's brilliant. You thought you were set then?
I thought I was set. That's it. I'm on top of the world now. I'm not going to jail. I'm not being a criminal. I've changed my life. Now I've got 2 kids, Johnny and Tallulah. But what I didn't see and what I didn't realise at the time is even though I managed to get these assets, a lot of people say when you go to prison, I think it's true because I fucked up and I'll be the first to admit it. As long as you've served in prison is sometimes how long it takes you to truly adjust when you come out. So I went to jail when I was 22, 23, come out in my 27s, nearly up that age. Kid, very quickly, another kid. In this real world now of having to really fund your own lifestyle. But I'm going out with the lads. I've only been out a couple of years, a year and a bit. I'm staying out, drinking, sniffing. All right, I'm doing all right successfully, or I'm trying to be successful, but I'm also kind of reliving them years I've lost.
Had you stayed away from the white up until now?
Well, in prison, no, what I mean is, in prison you stay away from it, but I mean sniffing it. I'm out now, I want to let my hair down. I've got a kid, managed to get a gaff, I've got a lot of stresses, bills. Kids are trying to get the kids into private school, stuff like that. Like they only went from 4 to 6, like only the younger age. Sorry, from all the nursery was private tuition fees, yeah? It's a lot of money. Plus on top of your mortgage payments, plus your car payments, plus your girlfriend getting her hair done, or it's big pressures, big bills. So I'm going out now, thinking, I ain't been out I've been in jail for 4 years. So now I'm going out with all the lads. I'm staying out with all the lads. I'm getting in at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. Not doing no illegal stuff, but little do I know that this is my relationship up. I can't see it. And gradually, but surely, like it would happen, between 2007, we got married in 2010. By 2011 and a bit, we're divorced.
No.
Yeah. Everything I'd worked for, I've also now f***ed it all up.
Were you continuing to party?
Party, yeah. Continue to stay out with the lads, drinking, she's moaning. Why are you coming home at 1 o'clock in the morning? I'm thinking because I'm providing, or I'm trying to provide, it's all good. Oh, that's not how a relationship should work. You know that. But now we've got 2 kids, we've got a lot of bills, a lot of pressures, and that's how I dealt with it. It's the wrong thing to do. And then gradually, but surely, our relationship become unmanageable. We're arguing in front of the kids. There's only one direction for this relationship, and it's to finish.
And was it you who initiated the finish or her?
Well, it was me that initiated the finish because in between me trying to become successful, legitimate, and do what I'm doing and get these properties, we're living in one of them, got 2 rentals. 2012, my sister gets told after a year of moaning to the doctors that she's got 18 months to live. Excuse me. So, and the only reason we found that out is because my mum's a funeral director by trade. And she's sitting in my mum's funeral shop one day, and the lady that does the autopsies walks past my sister and says to my mum, like, what's wrong with your daughter? I'll get to the bit about the breakup bit, which you just asked on, but
take your time.
This is quite important, this bit of it, as to who initiated it. So the lady said, I think you should go. My mum said, we've been going to the doctors. We've been asking them what's wrong. We've been trying to get blood tests done. They've been doing all these sorts of tests. There's nothing wrong with you. The woman said, I think she's got Cushing's syndrome. And Cushing's syndrome is a form of cancer, I believe. Don't get me, no. In fact, it's not a form of cancer. It is a syndrome in itself, but from that led to her finding out that she had adrenal cancer.
No.
Yeah. So from the Cushing syndrome diagnosis, that they'd fucked her off for a year, I promise you, a year and a half. Well, I've been going to the doctors, going to the hospital, there's something wrong with me. I'm not trying to put anything bad on the NHS, but they just kept blagging her. Nothing wrong with you, nothing wrong with you, nothing wrong with you. Till this lady said it. We went back, look, this autopsy lady said potential Cushing syndrome. Adrenal cancer affects 1 in 5 million people. It's so rare that they didn't know what to do with it. So anyway, they diagnosed her with cancer and they give her 18 months to live.
How old was she?
38. It's like remember I said when I was young, growing up, my mum and dad would argue, I'd leave one house, go to the other house. My sister always had her little, she was a bit older than me, she had kids. She's like a mum already at the age of 18 or 19, so she's a lot more advanced and switched on than me in that respect. So I'd always go to my sisters if I had nowhere to live. She was like another mum to me, as good as my mum. So she got told she had 18 months to live, which obviously affected our whole family really badly. But where I'd been staying out and not going home and sniffing with the lads and partying and turning up at 3 o'clock in the morning, my missus is sick to death of me going home at all hours at night. But this particular night, I said to my missus, my partner at the time rather, it's not my missus, long time split up with her. I said to the partner at the time, I'm going to go and stay with my sister tonight. She's just been told she's got 18 months to live. And she said, if you do that, don't come back. Gospel of my life.
Oh, my goodness.
I packed my bag, got all my stuff in a suitcase. I never went back to the house, ever. That was it, done. Left my kids, left everything behind. Everything. I had about 100 quid in my pocket. Didn't go. And that was me leaving the house. That's how we separated.
Would you say you were in a bit of mental turmoil?
My head was up my arse. Probably one of the darkest days of my entire life. And I think I'll never forget it. And it's almost weird because it's what led me to be back here explaining the latter part of this story, which you will understand why in a minute. It just gives me goosebumps to think about it. It's nuts.
Did you say you moved in with your sister?
I used to live with her all the time, yeah. So when she got told she had cancer, obviously I've now left the house, I've moved in with her, trying to help, a little bit of support. But now my head's really like I'm depressed, drinking alcohol, sniffing I was getting bags of cocaine, half ounce, just grabbing big chunks, sniffing it, like thinking I'm going to have an heart attack, wanting to ring the doctors and the ambulances and just drunk and sniffed myself into oblivion.
Self-medicating because you were suffering.
Yeah, suffering bad. I dealt with it the wrong way. My mum and that, I still have conversations with my mum now. It was my daughter. How do you think I felt is what she said. I'll never forget it. Obviously, very powerful. But I said, Mum, that's how you dealt with it. I dealt with it the wrong way, unfortunately. But it is how I dealt with it. It's one of them things. We can't blame each other for how it unfolded. But yeah, so pretty much, I left in July 2012. And from July 2012 to 2016 is almost blank in my head. And I mean, I can hardly remember anything about it. 2012, with the 18 months my sister had to live, she died to the day she went. And then when she died, I spiraled even further down into that deep, deep hole. The house that my partner at the time was living in with my kids nearly got repossessed because I wasn't paying the mortgage. The properties that I had that was being rented out, I was using the money for that to buy drugs. The scrapyard I had, weren't turning up to the scrapyard. I'm been in bed for 2 days. I'm sniffed up. I lost that as well. I mean, from 212 to 216. In 216, it comes to a point where I didn't even have enough money to buy a packet of fags. That's how skinny I was. Got 2 kids and an ex-partner. living in the house. They managed to keep it, thankfully, because that's where the kids live now. So at least I'm happy about that little part. That's still my little bit I've left contributed towards their upbringing.
During that dark period, we were able to see your kids.
I was able to see them, but I kept letting them down. Supposed to turn up on a Saturday. I'm not turning up because I've been out on a Friday. I'm ashamed of it, if I'm honest. Nah, when you look back on it and you've seen all the stuff you've done, you can't let them little kids down, mate. No. Not you tell them daddy's coming on a Saturday and he don't turn up till 3 Saturdays later, thinking that that's acceptable. It was bad. And obviously the ex-partner, she was getting the hump with it. So now when I do want to see them, she ain't letting me see them. She's like, nah, that. You've let them down for the last 3 weeks running. Why should we let you see them now?
Would you say that at this point you've been doing the white for so long, it had scrambled your decision-making processes?
Completely scrambled my
and
decision.
you probably didn't realise the extent of it.
I think it's not. I think, oh, no, it's only a couple of weeks away. Shut up, they're my kids. I don't realise the effect of what it's truly having on the kids. That daddy says he's going to turn up and he don't turn up.
Because these are the things we try and get across to the young people, because when they first try the white, they think they're Tony Montana and it's the glitz and the glam and it's cool.
Yeah.
And they don't see what's coming at them down that road as your brain changes. You think you're behaving normally.
Of course you do.
But you've gone, haven't you?
Yeah, you're still, what do you call it? So to be honest, between 212 and 216, I was living off of the rental monies and doing a little bit of other stuff to support myself. So I'm living day to day, but I still present well. Smart, trousers, jeans. You could go and sit in any pub. I might have been awake for 3 days. They wouldn't have a clue. I'd be smarter dressed than what they were. So I didn't stand out or I didn't stink. I still maintained my appearance. But it was just me in that pub on my own for 2 or 3 days. I didn't care about my family, my loved ones, or anybody around me. It didn't come into my mind. Absolutely not. Then I'd make these plans to get the kids when I'm drunk. Forget that I'd even done it. Not turn up for them, blank the calls, turn the phone off. You know, they'll just, yeah. So I just lost, yeah, man, I can't. It's sad.
So what was your lowest moment during that time?
The lowest moment, the day my sister died.
And were you living with her at that?
I come back. I'd f***ed off to Cyprus to just try and get away and fix up. And I can remember my mum ringing me. My sister got looked after in the Marie Curie Hospice in Hampstead. Beautiful people. And I can remember, obviously now I should really be beside my sister's side at the time. I'm not. My head's f***ed. Living with her, I'm not living with her. I'm in and out of her ass. And I can remember my mum ringing me. I can't remember the date, which I'm ashamed. 4th of August, I think it was. 4th of August, pretty sure. That's my sister's anniversary. And she rang me, said, you better get back. She's going to go soon. And I did. It's hard.
My best mate passed a couple of years ago, and I found out in the morning. I was on the way to do podcasts with these guys, actually. And I just went and did the podcast. I couldn't accept that he was dead. It didn't sink in until after, like, the next day, I think it was.
Yeah.
I was just in shock. So you have to adapt, don't you? There's various...
Of course there is. Yeah, we was there, mate, for our last breath. It's hard, but it's life. Shit happens. Shit happens, but that's what led to my further downturn in life. So I've been through the heartache of losing my sister. I'm divorced. I've got no properties. I'm not seeing my kids. I'm living out of back of vans and cars, sleeping in my scrapyard. Lost the scrapyard. Now I ain't even got that to live in. Like, it's gone bad.
How long did that period last for?
It lasted for nearly 2.5 years.
Wow.
Up to my sister died, I always knew I could stay there. Then when she died, I lost it. Like don't forget of what I'd been through previously. You're divorced now. If I say you're divorced, you're not seeing your kids, you got no maritable home. You're that's it, you're on your own. And then your sister goes. Like, some people might not even go through a portion of that in their life in that order. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. To have all of that in less than 2 years. I don't know how I dealt with it, mate.
So did you have to hit a rock bottom then to come back up?
Well, what happened, it was a rock bottom. I'd already hit, but I wasn't even f***ing on rock bottom, mate. I'm scraping through the floor. My bar is below the floor. I've gone below rock bottom. There is no deeper to get. Obviously, the only way then is up. And it's part of the story, and it is the story about what led me to this right now, is I met this girl that I'd previously knew. I've been through a lot of hurt and pain and heartache in the last 4 years with all the stuff I'd gone through. And she asked me if I wanted to move in with her. What am I going to say? I got nowhere to fucking go, mate. It's like a godsend. Not necessarily her, but the situation of being able to stay with her. But I said yes. Obviously, in that room, like we started seeing each other. I got with her, started seeing with her, moved in with her. And then it's like when I said I stopped smoking crack, one day I just thought, come on, mate, you got to fucking get a grip now. Your kids, your sister would be fucking fuming with you right now if she could talk to you. Your mum, your family, right, now's the time to try and get your life back on track. You can make a little stable route here, whether you want to leave her or not or whatever, but use it to your advantage. Like, come on, get a grip. So that's what I've done. So I started a company called Adair Maintenance, little property development company, but doing property maintenance. I've always been skillful, like with the stuff I've done previously with the houses I've had. I've always been able to put my hand to a job. The only thing I can't do is plastering. Everything else I can do. So I get hold of my mum. Mum, I need a few quid. I need a bit of money for a van. I'm going to register this business. So I registered it all, set it all up, got all the designs done, the logos, got everything done with a printer friend of mine that I'd used for all my previous business activities. Got it all set up, done the website. Yes, we're good to go now. So now I'm thinking in my head, I'm on the way back up now. I'm going to get it all back. I know I am, but this is where it starts. And I was with that lady, that girl, for about 5.5, 6 months. And long story short, I caught her giving somebody a blowjob.
Oh my goodness.
To be blunt, there's no other way of putting it. I've never ever said the name and I won't. What I've done, I'm ashamed of. But I've done it. It is what it is. I can't take it back. I've done what I've done. So, long story short, and a very, very long story short, I caught her giving somebody a blowjob. Me and the guy had a bit of an altercation. And I grabbed a sledgehammer and hit him with it in his head.
I assume this was at the place you were living with her?
Her place, yeah.
Yeah.
So from now, thinking I'm getting my life back on track, within a split second now,
just like that,
3 or 4 seconds it lasted. There was a lot of stuff to it before that, which isn't necessarily important to mention because then it might antagonise the people that was involved. And I don't want to do that because that's not why I'm here. I'm sorry for what I've done. What I've done. I can't take that back. But within a split second, I've picked up a hammer out of my van, come back round. We had a bit more of a thing. Later on in the evening, then I went back to the house, opened the door, and there he is getting his blowjob. And the hammer was on the hallway in the side. And I picked it up and hit him, and he's lying on the floor now. Head split open.
What was the immediate aftermath?
The immediate thought was, what the have you done?
Did it look bad?
Yeah, mate. I don't know whether the geezer's going to be dead or die or what. I ain't got a clue what's going on. And for some even now when I look back on it, I think, why did you not just walk away? Like, your whole life, you've just lost. Now you're going to prison again. You've been a criminal. You've been straight for so long, and now you're going back to jail. But instead of just walking out when I could have just walked away. I've hit him with the hammer. I've grabbed her by the arm and dragged her out the house. Kidnapped. So now it's not only Section 18, I'm in a house that she says wasn't mine, aggravated burglary, Section 18, aggravated burglary, and kidnap. That's what my charges were. Dragged her out the house, got into the van with her. For why, I don't know. Drove around in a few circles. It's madness when I think back. And then got stopped by old Bill, nicked. She didn't have much clothes on. They took her back to her house. Obviously then realised the guy's there with a broken, the hammer attack, the injury from the hammer. The police come to the cell in the morning and said, he's been rushed to hospital. Emergency operation, mate, he might die. I'm thinking, mate. Now it's getting bad. I prayed that whole night. Please, 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 please don't let him die. And in the morning, or at least 2 mornings later, they charged me Section 18 with intent, kidnap and aggravated burglary.
Was there a point where they told you that he'd pulled through, he wasn't going to die?
Yeah. I knew that. And then I thought, what a result. Not a result, obviously a result. One, I'm happy he's alive. I should never have done it anyway. So I'm happy that he isn't, not that he's not that badly damaged, but at least he's going to be all right. But now I know the shit hits the street with me. Because now I've wanted to get back into my kids' lives and rebuild that relationship. I'm now not going to, I know for a fact, this is double figures. 100% minimum double figures. My barrister's telling me 18 and a possible EDS. So now I'm losing my kids now for another potential 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years.
What's an EDS? Explain for the viewers.
An EDS, well, you got different. You got IPP, EPS, EDS. You got loads of little titles after them. An EDS is an extended determinate sentence. It's when they class you as high risk, violent. They extend your normal sentence with an extra period. So my probation, my barrister telling me, not in the police station, but in my head, I'm thinking, it later unfolded, she's like, look, you're going to get a big one for this. Not only have you gone in there and they're saying that you wasn't with that girl, so now you look like a scorned ex-partner, you've done it in her house and dragged her out the gaff. She said it's bad. So I've just accepted that this is it now. I'm going to get a big bird. So it is what it is.
Do you think by accepting that, though, you've got the worst case in your head, so anything less than you've already got the worst
100%
mentally prepared for?
Yeah. I've already got that. I even wrote a letter to the judge, obviously not trying to take away what I've done. I'm like, look, you're not going to give them any compensation. Let me get the money together to pay back because I feel really bad for what I've done. Like, let me cough that up. Obviously, they wouldn't have it. I don't know what planet I was on thinking I could even write that to the judge, but I tried. But I know I'm getting a big bird. Obviously, I'll get put on remand in Pentonville prison, which is my area, my manor. My mum lived one street away from that. So I'm in the area now. I'm on the plot. People are saying this, like you hear the stories, the rumours, how much you're going to get, what this man got next door for something similar. I'm fucking shitting myself, mate. But one thing I did say to myself is I will not let my kids see me in prison. I'm not having a visit from my kids. Never, ever. So if I get to 20, they're going to have to see me in 10 years. That's it. I won't want my kids walking through there with the dogs and getting searched and having that trauma stuck in their head for the rest of their life. So I was upset, mate, because I knew I'm getting a bird. So I know I'm not seeing the kids. So the whole objective of what I was trying to do, He's gone. And then they come and told me I was moving to a prison called Thameside, which is over by Belmarsh, next door to Belmarsh, high security Cat B.
I think I've spoke at Thameside.
Yeah? Yeah, so now they've got intentions of moving me there. So 4 weeks in Pentonville. I'm on the 5s. I know everybody there. It's sweet. I'm all right because it's where I grew up. But people are telling me that in Thameside, you get a quilt when you go in there. Quilt and pillow. I'm like, yeah, all right, mate. You winding me up. I've been to jail before. You ain't getting a quilt in no prison. You got a computer in your room. You can order your canteen on the computer. You got a telephone. Yeah? Obviously in Pentonville, you got to queue up. You got to fight to get on the phone because everyone's using it and you probably get half an hour out your cell a day. All these people are telling me these stories. I'm thinking, there's never in a million years if you got all that. So I'm going, yes, get in there. I'm moving to Thameside. I've never been so happy to be in prison, mate. Long and behold, they moved me to Thameside. No, I swear, mate. Have you heard about it? Well, you was in there.
It's changed fast, hasn't it?
Flabbergasted, yeah?
Changed fast.
The first reception day of me going into Thameside, they gave me a brand spanking new quilt with a pillow and put me in a cell. But you get your bit of food when you first go through the door. Obviously in Pentonville, you're lucky if you get a hot pot meal. The cement, the potato, you could probably hit it on the wall and it'd break the wall. It is disgusting, yeah? These lot have brought out this chicken casserole, mate. The best food you've ever seen, Krispy Kreme donut from Krispy Kreme. I'm thinking, this ain't prison. Anyway, put me in my cell. I get settled in. Do my little bit of bird there. I'm waiting now. Obviously, I'm waiting to be sentenced. So I'm thinking, like, I'm getting the big bird here now. I've just got to tidy it out. And to just fast forward a little bit before the rest of the time in Thameside, I goes to court, Blackfriars Crown Court. The judge starts speaking. He's got the hammer in a little brown box with a see-through window on it. Turned to the whole, what's it called, the people? The jury.
Yeah,
the jury. The people in the court. He's got it turned facing them.
Yeah.
Mr. Adair, this is what you hit somebody with. Oh, no. Not once, but twice. And he went on and on talking. And in the end, he summed it up. If I would have hit him once, I would have probably got 9 years. Maybe even 8 or 7. He said, like, it could have been less than that. He said the fact that it was multiple strikes. He says, I'm considering whether to give order a danger report. I was considering. Now, as soon as he said that, my arseholes fell out because my barrister said, an EDS, if they're going to do that to you, they will order a danger report, which is a psychological person that goes through you, how your brain is, how you function. He said, but I've decided not to do that. Oh, my God, man. I couldn't have been happier. And I know I'm getting a big bird, but now I'm still happy. I don't care what they give me now. I know there ain't no EDS, extended sentence. There's no parole sentence. It's a straight half. That's what I'm getting. And he started off, he summed it all up, put the aggravated burglary together with the... No, in fact, he said if you plead guilty to the kidnapping of Section 18, I'll drop the aggravated burglary. Oh, yes, straight away. I'll do that, 100%. Because with the aggravated burglary, 20 years, 18, 20 years. In the end, he gave me 14 years, 9 months, is what he summed it up to be. But with exceptional circumstances, reduced it to 11 years. So that's 11 years. I'm thinking 18 EDS. When he said 11 years, I actually wanted to stand up and go, get in there, and start cheering. I'm so happy inside, but I'm sitting like that trying to hold it. And like, I'm still respectful. I'm still sad what I've done, but I know I'm not going to prison.
Were they in there, the victim and the woman?
They was outside. Another little thing I thought there's no way they can come and... Because it happened... I didn't know this, but it happened inside the house. And there was no witnesses apart from them.
And she maintained that you were separate?
Yeah. It is what it is. That's her prerogative, whatever it is. In the end, I put my hands up to it. But I pleaded guilty right to the last day, thinking they're not going to come, stand up in court. and point me out. And the day of the trial, my barrister said, they're outside, they're coming in. So do you want to change your plea now? So I changed it to guilty.
So if you'd gone to trial and lost.
Oh, yeah. Big, more figures on top. So anyway, the judge rounded it up to 14 years, 9 months, reduced to an 11 because of exceptional circumstances, straight half sentence.
What were the exceptional circumstances?
What I'm saying, I can only assume what I'd been saying on my story, that it was the girl I was with, catching that, maybe.
Because I've met a few crime and passion people, and it is a bit of a mitigating thing.
There is a little bit of a mitigating circumstance. Maybe the fact that my sister died, I'd lost all the everything he summed up, the divorce, losing your properties, hitting rock bottom, being homeless, sister passing away, all in such a short time. And then finally, I've wrote a statement, I've wrote the story of what I was trying to get back on my feet, and then I've called out, and I'm sorry, but I just seen red. I can only assume, he's took that into account and dropped it to 11.
So you're just like...
So now I know I've only got 5.5 years to do. But even better than that in my thinking, because I'm a positive person, I've got the prison sentence, I'm thinking I've only got to do 3 years behind closed doors, which is like getting a 6 and doing half, before I get to open prison. So I'm really, really happy now. Like super happy that I've got 11 years. People back in Thameside were saying, why are you happy, man? Most people be crying their eyes out, mate. You just got an 11. I went, yeah, but 3 years here, 2.5 years in open prison. After a year of being in open prison, I can start going home and seeing my family again. It ain't that bad.
Getting sent.
I'm fucking skipping down the landing in Thameside. On the way back, I give my barrister a big cuddle. She's like, I've never seen someone get so happy at getting an 11-year sentence.
I got sentenced to 9.5, and that was one of the happiest days of my life.
Yeah?
Because I thought I was going to get decades.
See? So it's a good thing, although it's a negative thing.
It's expectations,
yes,
isn't it?
It's expectations. And yeah, I've got my sentence. So the day I went back to prison in Thameside, this is truth, by the way, the little officer's name's Dave. I never forget it. All right, Mr. Adair, how did it go? I got 11 years, Dave. I'm buzzing, mate. I'm over the moon. It's only a little officer, lovely little fella he was. It's only about 22. I don't even know how they can have young kids like that in there. He's walked me back to my cell. But I'm in a single cell now, yeah? No, sorry. They give me a different cell. I was on remand. Back then, they moved you. You didn't get to keep your cell. You left. Didn't know whether you was coming back or not. You might have got not guilty, a disqualification, whatever they call it, an acquittal. You might have left. Your cell's gone now. They've given it to someone else. They've come back. So now the only cell they've got for me is on C wing, C lowers, on the 2s. Bring you back. He's like, this is the cell you're going to, Mr. Adair. It's a double cell, but no one in there. So I walked in. And I went, whoa, 1 minute, Dave. He went, what's up? I went, just stay there 1 sec. I've unplugged the TV, unplugged all the bits, and I put it outside the door. I said, do not bring no one to this cell. I am not banging up with anybody, mate. I'm single, and that is it. The only thing you can do is take my telly and put me on basic. There's the telly. Keep it. Oh, please, Mr. Adair, can you just have someone in? I went, no, I am not. I've just got 11 years. I need to let this sink in. I need some time on my own. I swear to God, I never got doubled up with anybody from that day. He left me on my own. Because he knew I'll just give him the telly.
You can't beat your own cell.
That's it. So I had to have my own single cell. I love my own space. And I stayed there for 2.5 years.
It's like living in a toilet with someone, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got to have a shit in front of them and they're farting and burping, and I'm quite respectable like that. I can't do, be posted, I can't do things like that in front of, or at least I'd feel embarrassed, and you got to respect other people. So I thought, there's no way am I going through that, what I've been through in Liverpool, like doubled up and all that. So I just put the telly outside the door. I said, do not bring no one to my room, ever. And to be fair, the fella left me alone. And then I blagged the doctors that I've got IBS and I've got this and I've got that. And they ended up giving me like doctor's notes and stuff like that to say that I have to have a single cell. So they never actually brought no one back to my room after that day. That was me.
So what routine did you start to get into? So
this is what I've done. I strongly believe in the law of attraction. It might sound a bit weird. I don't know if you Ever practice it? You probably practice it and don't realise you're practicing it. I believe in the law of attraction, and everything is attracted to you from your thoughts. That's what I believe in. 1,000,000%. So as soon as I went to prison, I got a little black book and I started writing down what it is I'm going to do, when I'm going to do it, and why I'm going to do it from the day I got sentenced. So I wrote down my DCAT dates. So now I want to visualise. You visualise, you can materialise, yeah? I believe it, I really do. It sounds a bit nuts. Some people go, you're off your head, mate. But it works. So anyway, I'm writing down these dates. August 2021 is when I said, 2020, I got there in September. I was a month out, but it was near enough bang on. Now I'm reflecting on all the shit I've been through. This has started pretty much day one from me getting sentenced, not from being in prison, from when I thought, right, I've got 5.5 years to do here. Now let me plan this. So I wrote down all these ideas, stuff I want to do to help to give back to the people that helped my sister in her dying days, charities, stuff that's going to benefit other people rather than just benefiting me for myself and always wanting to be the man with the good car and the big watch and stuff like that. Like a lot of people do it for self-gain, which is nothing wrong with that. But I think when it comes to a point in your life when you hit so rock bottom, things, why you do what you do changes. You understand? So now I've got 5.5 years to reflect on it. So I wrote down my list of ideas, and the first thing I wanted to do was get a gym orderly job. Obviously, I'm in the prison Thameside. There is 1,200 people there, and every single person wants that job. So you said, what routine kind of thing did I get into? So the first thing I done, I went to the gym, and I seen that the gym orderly had a green, I'll never forget it, it's one of the funniest, even the officers was pissing themselves laughing. A green top, and on the back it said #1 gym orderly, which is like the head orderly of the orderlies. So I got a green t-shirt and stenciled it out on the back. Right? This is just the person I am. I've put next time I'm going to the gym now, I've put the t-shirt on and I went up to the gym officer and I've said, thanks a lot for that, Tui. He said, thanks for what? I said, thanks for giving me the job, mate, and sending me my uniform. He went, what do you mean? And I've turned around and showed him the jumper with #1 gym orderly on the back of it. He cracked up. He went, come here a minute. He brought me into the room where all the other gym officers were and went, turn around and show them your top. So I've turned around and showed them my top. I promise you, he come to my room the next morning to give me the job. Not the #1 job, but a gym orderly job. Yeah. So now I've only been there a matter of weeks. Well, no, not a matter of weeks, sorry, a matter of months, obviously sentenced. Now I've got a gym orderly job. So now every morning at 7 o'clock, they come and crack my door, bring me to the gym, do a little bit of cleaning. You can train every session there is. There's 8 sessions a day. So now that's my routine. Now I'm eating good. I'm training every single day. From the little computer inside your room, I've created an Excel spreadsheet, quite complex, to track my calories. I've done it all myself. I don't know where I've got this education to be really good on computer. I've never ever done it. Like I said, I never really went to school. But I've made this little program on this Excel. Now I put 1 egg. I'd come back from the gym and say, I've had 1 egg, 2 bowls of pasta and this and that. And it'd say, you've had 385 calories. You've still got 785 remaining. And you can eat 15 more grams of fat and I swear to God, I've still got it now. I smuggled it out. I put it on a USB stick and bring it out with me. So now my life, literally, is tracking my calories and going to the gym every day. That is all I've done for 2.5 years nearly. And whilst I was doing that, I managed to become a gym instructor, a personal trainer, and then I got moved.
What was your preferred workout routine?
CrossFit. HIIT training. Like 2 different things. So like maybe burpees with tuck jumps or press ups and star jumps, or it's like a mixture of stuff that really gets your heart rate going, but gets you really, really fit. So I started putting on little tournaments in the gym, different types of CrossFit routines. Whoever could win it would throw in a little group of little tin of macros and stuff. And literally every day of me being in that prison, people would be coming up going, John, can you do us? Come on, we want to do that challenge again. And I'd be getting them doing all these nutty challenges, people being sick in the corner of the gyms and stuff because they couldn't complete the challenge. But that's what I've done for like nearly 2.5 years.
Helps keep people out of trouble, doesn't it?
Keeps people out of trouble.
Fitness.
Keeps yourself really focused. Obviously, you start to learn real discipline if you want to take it a bit seriously. Yeah, and I probably got into one of the best shapes I've ever been in, physically and mentally.
You said there was some mayhem in the background.
Oh, in there, in the prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I seen some real shit happening, mate.
What
People
kind of
getting
things?
hot watered and faces melting. Actually, skin peeling off of their face.
What was that over?
Canteen. Standing in the. I'm going out to visit now. Who's coming to visit me? I think my mum was coming to visit me outside. I'm waiting to go out to the visit. And as close as you are to me, the fella got stabbed 11 times in the chest. The blade was like something he'd dug out of a back garden, mate. Must have been that big. And probably the point went to probably the end of the shaft, that bit. It was probably about that big. 11 times in his chest. The fella was on the same wing as me for 1 tin of mackerel.
No.
He ticked 1 tin of mackerel with double to pay back. So you got to give back 2 tins, and he didn't pay it. He got stabbed 11 times. He survived.
He survived.
Knows how he survived, mate. He survived. Air ambulance, the whole prison got locked down. I didn't get to see my mum.
Was that the worst thing
That
you saw?
was the worst thing I've seen, that close.
That close to you as well?
Yeah, for a tin of mackerel.
Yeah. People don't
And
understand.
not a blink, sorry to interrupt, not a blink at the man that done it. Not like, he's nuts, mate. To think, I actually remember that geezer's face over a tin of mackerel.
Explain to the young people, like, how cheap life is and how things can just be taken out. You know, things can just blow up like that.
Well, a lot of people, I like to try and tell these young kids, because a lot of what I'm doing now, which I'm going to touch on in a minute, is about going back into prisons. I've been there, I've seen it, I've done it. I'm out the other side now, and I'm trying to do good for a better reason. So, but a lot of these people that we speak to, or at least I've been speaking to, you try and tell them that because a lot of people think they're going to prison, they're going to earn a bit of status. They're going to be the men, they're going to be the man. It's not like that. You go into prison, you get terrorized, you get bullied, you get raped. I've seen it, I've heard it, not necessarily physically witnessed it, but I've heard it. You get big gangster type people that go in there and become gay just while they're there. Terrorize the little younger ones, and then when they get out, they're not gay no more. Like, the shit that goes on in there is fucking nuts. So it's not a cool place to be. It's actually a really horrible place to be. Like I told you before, if you've got that attitude that you're a bit better than anybody, you're getting cut down very, very quick. I've seen real gangsters, actual faces, being terrorized because they think they're a face. But in prison, there is none of that. You're not, that hierarchy's not there, mate. The littlest man on the wing is the man that's going to do something to you because you won't give him a roll-up because he hasn't got nothing. So it's a horrible place to be.
People get humbled fast.
They get humbled very, very fast.
And people going in acting big and bad. I've seen them go in like packs of wolves.
That's it. Terrorized. Yeah. And I've seen it multiple times. They come in off the street, giving it all the big talk, saying they've got, I've even seen people come in off the street. Don't forget, some of these lads are doing 15s, 20s, 25s. They ain't going home in a minute. The little man's walked in who's doing 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, saying, yeah, I've got a load of puff and a load of weed. They're physically holding these people down and digging out their arse with a f***ing spoon to get the drugs. That's what's happening to these people. They get f***ing humbled very quick. And they don't want to come back. It's not a nice place to be. But I personally think if you've got the right attitude, you don't be anything. You try and be anything you're not. You kind of just keep yourself to yourself and you get on with your own prison. Don't get involved in all the little gang violence and all the little wars, internal wars that are happening. You can sail through.
Did you program?
Program as in courses.
Yeah.
They tried to get me to do the programs, but although I was being really good, really positive, and I was not being, I'm not trying to be big-headed, but I think I was like a model prisoner. I even got told, like, this is what we expect of a prisoner. You come in, you do what's asked of you, you don't argue back, you go home. You get your courses, or you do your little gym courses and whatever else along the way. But they was trying to put me on one particular course called Kaizen, which is for people that have committed mass murders, double murders, killed their wives, shit like that. And I'm like, whoa, hang on a minute. I've had a fight with a fella and I've gone to prison. I'm not doing them courses. I'm not sitting with them people on them courses, mate. It ain't happening. So they knocked off one of the courses and then tried to put me on a domestic violence course. I'm like, I grabbed her by the arm. I know it was wrong, but I didn't beat the woman up. Do you get what I'm saying? It's this domestic violence. Why? You just put me on ones where people smash the life out of their birds every day. I've got to sit and listen to that shit. I didn't do all that.
Yeah.
In the end, they assessed me for that course, was called BBR. They seen, like I told them, I wasn't suitable for it. And then they moved me out of Thameside to the Mount.
What was that like?
That was all right. I probably got put on the worst wing though in the whole prison. Nashby, I'll never forget it. Really bad. But when I didn't know I knew people there, first day I gets there, one of my best friends is there. He already had everything.
That's the best, isn't it? When you know
He
someone.
had it patterned, mate. He knew the friendly officers, not to bring any contrabands, but one that would let you stay out a little hour, get you a good job on the cleaners. But I went there with a recommendation from the gym guys who really liked me because of the T-shirt thing and that. I've been there 2 years, done all the courses. So within a matter of weeks, even though I was on the worstest wing in the prison, I got the gym all the job there.
Were you getting visits?
Yeah, my mum.
Your mum?
That's it.
Yeah.
My whole sentence, just my mum.
How did that feel to see your mum?
Horrible, mate. You know, like I was saying to you, you realise all this shit you put her through. All these years, I'm still doing it. I'm 30 odd years old. 40, what am I talking about? 40 odd years old. I'm still putting my mum through it. She's still having to go through it. And she still turns up with a little smile. Kills you, mate. It really does.
It's your parents to have your back, isn't it?
Oh, mate. But that's what I said. When the thing about what I said about my dad, he said, listen to me, son, when you're older or when you're in a bad situation, you will not be able to count them on one hand. And I never used to believe him. The reason I said that is because when you're in them places and you're on your own, there's no one. No one even sent me £5 postal order. Of all the money I made with all the people, not even a five, not even a pair of trainers, nothing at all. Literally left like you was never alive. You've been to prison, you said? You must have experienced that?
Yeah, a lot of my co-defendants got arrested with me. So we were all in prison together.
Yeah. So you're in the same place?
Yeah. So it was a bit of an unusual situation. Now, what about the relationship with your kids at that time? Were you writing to them? You know, you said
writing to them,
not to visit.
speaking to them. Well, obviously in Thameside, you had a phone
phones.
in the prison every day. They're asking, where's Daddy? Daddy's away working, is what we told them. And they kept, I think my little, but they're getting older now. They're not stupid. You tell them Daddy's away working. Their families are criminals and they know people around them, like in our family, my family from Scotland. Like, they're not fucking idiots. And one day we had to come to the conclusion that we've got to tell them. Because I'm going to be in an open prison soon. I know I've written my dates down. I know I'm working towards that in my brain and that's it and nothing else matters. I'm going to open jail. So I was not having a fight. I've not kept a mobile phone. I'm not getting involved in the madness. I would literally walk away from somebody that slapped me because I'm not retaliating and I'm not getting penalised. I'm going to open jail. So we had a little chat, me and the ex-partner, the mum's kid, the kid's mum. And I rang them up one day and had a little chat with them. She said, right, tell them then. So I rang them up and I said, listen, kids, I'm really sorry to tell you this, but Daddy's not away. Daddy isn't on like working away. Daddy's actually in prison. And when my little boy said, he said, I knew that, Dad. I'm not stupid.
Oh, God bless him.
Oh, it killed me, mate. He knew it. He ringing up and you hear the little beeps on the phone. I don't know whether he would never have heard the beeps before, but he ain't f***ing stupid. Kids are very, very clever. We don't give them the credit for how clever they are. And he knew it. My little girl didn't really know it. She's a couple of years younger than my little boy. But he knew. He said, I don't know.
So you were resolved. I mean, you'd already resolved earlier in your life not to go down those roads. So at this point, it was like an unexpected thing happened, and that happened. But you were set, right? You were determined when you were going to get out. Just get it all, make amends for everything.
I had it all mapped out in my head, what I was going to do, how I'm going to do it, where I'm going to get to, and when I'm going to get there. So like I said, they sent me to the Mount. Done a little bit of time there. Then they sent me from the Mount to Elstoke, Gloucester, near Gloucester kind of way. Done, 2.5 years in Thameside, 8 months in the Mount. What's that? 3 years, 3 months. And then the other, and then went to Elstoke. Basically, I ended up getting to Thameside from the Mount to Elstoke, and then Elstoke sent me to HMP Spring Hill, which is an open prison, in August 2020.
And those last 2 prisons you were at, was it all relatively smooth for you?
Very, very smooth. It's progression. They've sent me from a BCAT, local, quite high security, next to Belmarsh, to a CCAT, then another CCAT to a CCAT that actually, because it's very hard to get a CCAT, believe it or not, a DCAT from the Mount. Almost impossible. They don't give them out that much. Unless you're maybe a white-collar criminal or you've only got a couple of months left. But they usually send you from the Mount to another CCAT, which does disperse you to open prisons. So they've sent me from the Mount to Elstoke. And in Elstoke, there is only one aim now. There's only one thing on my mind, is to get Pally, get a good little job, Jim Audley job I got again, on the recommendations of my whole prison sentence. I was a Jim Audley. Done all the courses. So now I know all I've got to do is do exactly what I've done, replicate what I've done, how I've been polite to the officers. Yes, sir. No, it's all right, miss. I want to go to an open prison because I know as soon as I get there, I can see my kids. That's all I've got in my mind. All the other lads around me are smoking weed. They got mobile phones, talking to their girlfriends. They're just going against the grain. I'm like, no, I don't want to know, mate. Get that out of my room. I don't want nothing to do with it. I want to see my kids. And I got to there, like I said, in August 2020. And you've got to do 3 months in an open prison before you can be risk assessed and be allowed to be out to see your family. Took me 8 months because my probation officer was being horrible. I don't know whether it was because of the crime I was in for. Technically, it was passed as a domestic, even though I didn't beat her up. I don't think that's a domestic. It's a fight between me and a man, but there was a woman involved. Okay, fine. She was a woman, my probation officer, so I'm not sure if a little bit of that rubbed off or not, or I ain't got a clue. But I just kept on trying to be nice and be me. And what took most people 3 months, took me 8 months before I could get out. And you know why I got out? This was a beauty, mate. Oh, you're going to love this one. So she's supposed to do the risk assessment. She's supposed to go and check my mum's house to make sure I could be released to there and do this and do that. I've been round to your mum's. My mum's going, she f***ing hasn't been round to mine. I swear on your life, John, she ain't been round. So now she's lying about my mum. So she kept lying about certain things. So I rang up the senior probation officer at St John Street Probation and said, this ain't right, you know. I've got 2 kids out there. I've never had a nicking, never even been given a warning. That's how good I've been in prison. It's called an IEP. I am the best you could ever get, right? And you're preventing me from going home to see my family. I've earned my right to be here. Now I'm here, I want to get out. She said, let me look into this, Mr. Adair. So I told her who my probation officer was. She's obviously gone and had a chat with my probation officer. I rang up my probation officer the following day. Have you done these checks yet, miss? Do you know what she said to me? This is on the prison phone. It's a blue phone, yeah, in the prison. It's being recorded. I haven't got a mobile phone. She's went to me, if you ever complain to my probation, my senior again, I will make sure you never get a town visit and you'll be released to a, what's it called? A secure premises, which means you won't be going to your mum's on your town visit. You'll be going to a secure hostel that the probation run because you're a high risk to the public criminal. And I went, whoa, hang on a minute. For one, I didn't do no danger reports or anything like that to have to go to that kind of public thing when I get released. You've always said I could go to my mum's house. And two, you cannot threaten me because it's being recorded. She went, you can't record me. I went, I'm not recording you, miss. The prison is. She said it. I will make sure you never get the town visit. So I hung the phone up. I promise you this. I walked over to the number one governor's office, knocked on the number one governor's office door. I said, excuse me, sir. I said, I've just had a bit of a madness on the phone with my probation officer, and she just threatened me. He went, what? Come. He brought me to my probation officer inside the prison. They both went off and listened to the phone call. They said, Mr. Adair, we commend you. I can't remember the exact words. We commend you or we applaud you on how you handled that situation. Leave this with us. 2 weeks later, they give me a town visit. I swear to God, 2 weeks later, I was having McDonald's with my kids.
Oh,
Wicked,
I
mate.
wanted to see your kids after all that time.
Mate.
They must have changed.
Well, obviously, I went to prison. Well, how old is my little girl now? She's 15. So I've done 5.5 years.
So much of that time.
So she was 9.5 when I went to prison. And she was 14 when I had the town visit. So from her being that big, I'm thinking in my head, she's still going to be that big. I haven't got the smartphones in jail and haven't seen my family and all that. I don't want nothing to do with that. I haven't seen them. I don't want to see pictures. I want to see them in the flesh. I'm thinking when we're on the visit, like I've come out of the prison, HMP Spring Hill, and I'm walking down the hill a little bit, and there's my little daughter running towards me. When she jumped up and cuddled me, mate, I nearly fell over. She was that big and heavy. I thought she was going to be a little tiny girl. Mate, I had a tear coming out my eye. My little boy is just kind of bowled up, like as if so. His voice.
How old was he?
He's 18 now. So 5.5 years. I've been out a year and a half, rather. So my little girl was younger than that. I've been out a year and a half. So that's 7 years from today's date. And a year and a half off of that.
So he was early teens then.
And he's 18 now. So he's like 11 and a half. Yeah. 11. My little girl's like 8.5. 9. 8, no, 7.5, 8.
Did you recognise them?
Yeah, I recognise them. But he was like that, even though, because when she was like that and he was like that, and then I've come out there like that. I'm like, fuck me, mate. Look at the size of him. I couldn't believe it, mate. It was one of the best and weirdest days of my life. Obviously, all the crap I'd been through. Now I'm hugging my kids and they can see that daddy's back on form. He's his old self. It was, yeah.
What was the living situation for you right away?
Well, obviously, I'd done the 18 months in the closed prison. I managed to go to university. Oh, you want the living situation on me coming up?
Yeah.
Okay, so when I got released, they released me to a hostel.
Right.
A crackhead hostel in King's Cross. And I mean a real unstable place.
Was that stressful for you?
Really stressful for me, yeah. I'm still high risk. I've still got probation. I'm classed as high risk to the public because of the person I had the altercation with. I didn't know him. So they classed him as a general public. So they had me with an alcohol tag on the day of release. They had an alcohol tag on my ankle because when I was arrested, I was intoxicated, drink and cocaine. So they said part of my bowel conditions, I've got to wear a alcohol monitoring tag that sends a signal to something up in the sky and back down to them if I have a drink. So I said to them, so you're going to send me to a hostel? And in fact, it was even worse than that. That woman, the probation officer, they actually released me homeless. No bullshit, mate. I promise you this. This is why I've done a lot of what I'm doing now. They released me. So I said to my probation officer, so you want to release me after 5.5 years of being in prison, coming from an unstable, what I've come from, I've got nowhere to live, and you want to put an alcohol tag around my ankle? I said, where am I going to charge it? You know what she said to me? Just go into Costa Coffees or Cafe Nero's or something. I went, are you serious? So you want a high-risk prisoner being released on parole, on license, After being away for 5.5 years, it's going to be really hard for me to get jobs and stuff like that. You want me to walk into Costa Coffee and put my foot up on the side and charge the bracelet because I can't take it off? I swear to God, she said, yeah, why not? That's what she done with me. So I couldn't do that, and I was not going to do that. So I had to beg my mum. I said, Mum, look, can my bail address be your address? This is the only way this is going to happen, because then they can install the little monitor at your house and I can come and sit with you once a week. I think it's once a week. I had to clock in every day, but you could charge it once a week. And she said, yeah. So they released me to my mum's house, 1-bedroom flat that her and her husband live in. Now I'm there, on paper. But I didn't stay there. I just charged it. My probation officer, this is what's fucked up as well. She knew I weren't going to be living there. She said, but at least it's somewhere to charge you. I was like, that is so fucked up and
crazy.
Warped. You're supposed to be helping me. Well, no, in fact, you're not supposed to be helping me, but at least you could give me a little bit of help to try and get back on my feet so that I don't relapse into drinking and going back down that route. But no, they didn't give me no help. So the day of release, I get this on, I proactively got myself into this hostel in King's Cross. Myself, no help from her. And it was one of the worst places I've ever lived in my life.
Again, you just have to keep yourself to yourself. And
I did not speak to none of these people are on antipsychotic drugs, paranoid schizophrenics. And I'm on license. If I have a little argument with somebody for the silliest little thing, I'm going back to prison for 5.5 years. I've only just started seeing my kids again. I can't argue with these people. I can't get kicked out.
were they knocking on your door and stuff?
Nutters, mate. Absolute cranks. No word of a lie. King's Cross. I used to stay out of there as long as possible and come back as late as night.
Where did you go?
No, I'm saying I'll go out in the morning and just stay out and then come back in the evening. I try and stay out there, just go in there to sleep, and when I wake up, straight out, so that I didn't have to involve myself with a potential recall or a stupid little argument that they can afford to have, but I can't, because I'm going back to jail.
So how did you get all your work back on track?
No, so what happened, so before I got released from prison, the DCAT, obviously I'd had a lot of time to reflect. I'd been to university from the DCAT. I'd become really good on computers. I'm business-minded anyway, from my own educating. And my sister passed away from cancer, and the people that helped her out really looked after her. My mum's been a funeral director all her life for other people. So I rang my mum up one day from the prison phone, and I said, Mum, how would you feel if I set you up with your own funeral home? She's never really seen this business. She's seen the stuff I've had, but she didn't know it was me behind it. Like my actual physical doing. She went, you can't do that. How do you know how to do all that? I went, I can, Mum. I said, there's something you don't know about me. So all the little businesses I've had before, every part of it, the website design, the business, that I've done it. Built the websites myself. I've done it all myself. She went, really? So now she's a little bit infused, like enthusiastic about the potential idea, but I've got no money. She said, where's the money going to come from? I said, don't worry. We'll find some investors. We'll get some people involved. It's going to happen. Do you want to do it? She went, yeah, but then I won't have... She got a job now with a really reputable funeral directors on Caledonia Road. So now she's got to leave her salary. She's not got a guaranteed income. She's a little bit, shut an eye. You've been in jail a few times. You keep saying you're not going to do it again. You've let me down. Really? So now she doesn't know whether to go over her gut. But I said, Mum, the beauty about this is we're going to do it in memory of my sister, your daughter. She started crying.
Oh.
She's like, wow, what? So what do you mean? Like, how are we going to do it? I said, so this is what I've been thinking. I said, you do funerals every day of the week. Funeral costs are really, really high. And at probably one of the worst periods of somebody's life, you're hitting them with a big bill. I said, it ain't fair. Plus the guys that helped Tracy in her dying days, the Marie Curie Hospice, how good they do and what they do and why they do it. I said, I want to do something to give back to that community. She said, go on. So I said, let me set it up. I've done all this from prison, by the way. Set the websites up, set the companies up on day release from prison. I said, so the business model is going to be this. If we handle a funeral, Oh, it gets me every time, If we handle a funeral for somebody that passes away from a heart attack, and we get the option to do that funeral for the loved ones, we'll give the family the option of us donating our profits from that funeral to the British Heart Foundation.
Wow.
Right? I said, if somebody passes from cancer, we'll give them the option of donating all our profits to cancer research. Might only be 20 or 30% of the profit, but after cost and stuff like that. But we're going to be giving back. I said, so yeah, if what was I saying there? So if we do it from cancer, we're going to give back to cancer. Yeah, she's like, wow, that's amazing. I said, but if they're not affiliated with a charity, because not everybody is, somebody might just die of old age. Somebody might have just had a lovely life and passed away. I said, whatever that portion of profit is, and they're not affiliated, or it wasn't for an illness, will knock the same value off of their funeral bill. She's like, wow. Do you think that would work? I said, believe me, 1,000,000%, this will work. People are going to love this, because not only are we giving back, we're helping out the community. My mum does little coffee mornings for Cancer Macmillan people, gives the donations to them. There's so much stuff we're doing now. So she said, let me think about it. So I'm thinking, please, like, let's do this now. I want to do it. I'm looking up, thinking I'm looking at my sister. I can actually see her face in the clouds. That's how passionate this is for me, right? So she's like, all right, come on, let's do it. So I set it up. So I said, what do you want to call it? So she's called it, my sister's name who passed was Tracy. My mum's name's Mary. So we called it T&M. Oh. Tracy and Mary. Oh. Yeah. So we done it. I set the company up, registered it for VAT. Oh no, even better than that though. While we're doing the company setup and stuff like that, or in the part leading up to that, I'm sitting in my cell just jotting on pieces of paper. And I don't know why I wrote down my kids. My kids. So I've jumbled up and made an acronym of them letters and pronounced the word Dimsky. So the first company we started was an acronym of my kids called Dimsky, which kind of reflected me and my mum for her kids. And that's what we called it, Dimsky. So we called it Dimsky CIC. I set it up for that, got the business account, built the website myself, and got the premises on Caledonian Road.
Wow.
We started. So now we actually provide funerals as a charity basis and help out the community, either by a reduction in costs or a contribution towards the people that looked after their loved ones in their dying days. What? Because of my sister.
What a turnaround, man.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Gets even better than that, though. And I mean, this is the bit that gives me goosebumps. I hope, and I don't, so I'm a little bit soppy like that. I hope I don't cry, but every time I talk about it, it touches me so much to the bone. My mum's business is the funeral industry. I've never done that in my life, but I'm a good businessman. So we're trading. Quite a few months have gone past. I get released from prison. I say to my mum, do me a favour, mum. The next funeral that comes through the door, can I handle it? So that you can show me step-by-step basis. I know certain things about it, but I've never fully done one myself. So she's like, no problem. The next person that came through the door died of the same cancer, at the same hospice, buried in the same cemetery as my sister.
No way.
I swear.
Oh my God.
It's crazy, mate. Like, you could not create a bigger 360. And the fact that we contribute to the people's charities that help their loved ones in the dying days, who do they ask me to donate the proceeds to? Marie Curie Hospice that took after my sister.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. So I had to walk back into that hospice all these years later with a check. Never forget the lady's name, Debbie. And I walked in and I said, I need to speak to somebody that I can make a donation to. And they took me upstairs to the people, and this lady sat me down. I promise you this. She sat me down and she said, well, come on. And she said, can you explain to me why are you making a donation? And I told her it. She was crying her eyes out. She said, I cannot believe that is so inspirational. What you're doing is amazing. All the nurses took pictures with me. It was wicked, mate. We put it up on our Facebook, Marie Curie Hospice in the back of it, me giving them the check. The one funeral I wanted to take care of was...
I think the spirit of your sister's guiding you, man.
Wow. Bringing me back to the place that it died.
Yeah.
Crazy, mate. Honestly, I get goosebumps every time I think about it. And I've told people about it and they're like, Hey, if that wasn't your sister bringing you, and I've still not been to her gravesite, you know. I can't go and see her. I've got to do it soon. But if that weren't her bringing me back to there, that's not just coincidence. I'm not having that. Not in a million years, mate. Not that specific. The same fucking cancer, the same place, in the same cemetery. Nah, mate. That's like 1,000,000 to 1.
Yeah.
The one I choose. That's what happened.
And you rebuilt the metal recycling as well?
Yeah, no, so before I went to prison, obviously I had a scrapyard in 2010-ish. Remember? That was my passion. That's what I've loved. That's what I want to do. So now I've come out of prison. I've been back to the place that helped my sister. I've given them their first contribution, a donation from us. I'm on top of the world now, yeah? Still haven't got no money, though. I'm on benefits. I've only helped my mum achieve her goal. This isn't me financially receiving from that. I'm not taking nothing from it. I've just done the structure for her as a favour. I say to myself, right, what do I want to do? My mum's my sister. I've done something good for these guys now. I love metals. So the guy that got me out of prison to work for him on a day-to-day basis, his name's Barry Henley. From Kentish Town, he's got a company called E&D Scaffolding and Roofing. They help out a lot of the guys in the community, maybe ex-criminals, give them jobs, stuff like that. But he's also a personal friend of mine. In fact, his son had 2 kids with my sister. So it's very close. Yeah, it's like family. So I rang Barry up when he's given me the job. This is before I've been released. This is at the same time as doing the funeral for my mum. And I've said to Barry, I didn't look back then, but this is along the way. Sorry, in fact, I got that wrong. Along the way, while I'm setting it up, just as I got released is when we started a little bit before that is when we started the metals. And I said to Barry, look, I've set this all up for my mum. It's going good. I'm out now. I said, I need to do something that I want. I said, how do you think if I use a part of your scaffolding yard as a charity metal recycling company? So the same principles, the same basis, but we recycle metal for the community. So if we do good, they do good. He's like, yeah, you think that'll work? I said, 100% it'll work. I've been in the metal business before. Please just let me do it. I said, but I've got no money. And in fact, I don't want no money. I'll set this up for you. It's in his name. It's his business, right? I'm just the structure behind it, right? So we said, all right, let's give it a go. So I think he only had £10,000 of his own money that he put into his business. I opened him a business account, registered the company called Community Metal Recycling. I built the website for him. I done everything for him and started it up in his scrapyard, in his scaffolding yard. But with the intentions that later on down the line, once I've established myself, I've got housing, I'm kind of a little bit stable with not too much pressure. I'm going to add myself to the company, come off of the benefits and everything else like that and be a successful businessman again. So I set it up for him. And now he's got 2 yards. One in Camden and one in Stevenage. And we literally, I work there, part-time basis, on the books. We literally recycle metal to benefit the community. We give away free bikes, like all the bikes that come in on the trucks when they tip all the iron off. We take off all the bikes that are good, line them all up, give them a little once over. We've got families coming, the kids that have just been released from hospital picking bikes up. We've got Colombian families that have been exiled from Colombia taking 4 bikes for their families. If a nice chair comes in that can be repurposed, we put it on an Instagram and give it away for free. We are literally recycling metal for the community. Hence the name Community Metal Recycling. And every scrapyard that we deal with, the bigger guys, they love the idea of when you become really successful and big and multiple yards, which there will be, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them, the more money the company makes, the more we can do for the community.
John, there's not many people like you. Everyone's just out for themselves.
Yeah, mate. No, I used to be, Sean. I couldn't, look, I don't own none of these businesses. I'm happy to put myself on these businesses in a minute. So I'm happy to be humble. I get by. It's nuts. But you know what I want to mention as well, what I forgot to mention? Whilst I was in DCAT prison, you know, like all this shit I've been through, the divorce, then the other thing with that other girl. From DCAT prison, you know, I said Barry Henley's son, Sammy his name is, who had 2 kids with my sister. On one of my home leaves, he's introduced me to a lady that I knew 25 years ago that fancied me 25 years ago.
Way.
But check this out. Fancied me 25 years ago, knew me 25 years ago, but had a partner at the time. So she didn't ever really want to go there. I met her on one home leave, one day. I've been with her for 2.5 years.
Holy shit.
Never let. Wow. I've loved the woman to pieces. So now I've got her behind me and the support that she gives me. She knows why I've been to prison. She knows everything. I give her all my paperwork and said, look, don't listen to the rumours you might have heard from people. That's why I went away. I haven't left her side for 2.5 years, mate.
It's like you've like got an invisible hand guiding
It's mad,
you,
yeah. Like,
I think all this good karma from helping the community.
It is very good karma from helping the community, 100%. And I believe, well, when my mum's got 2 or 3 shops, and I think she's even, and this is no joke, she's even going to start giving away, not trying to big up her company or nothing, but she's even going to start doing half-price cremations to people that can't afford it. From the money that's profits there, she's going to reinvest back into almost reducing their costs to nothing.
And for people who are watching this, who are in these areas, then do you want to just elaborate on the areas so people can get in touch?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
My mum's funeral shop is called T&M Funeral Home. We started off on Caledonian Road, and then she'd been there for a couple of years, and now she's moved to a bigger premises, which is on Brecknock Road, number 2 Brecknock Road. Adjoined to the funeral shop, which I want to touch on in a minute, is something that my sister would love. It's called Tracy's Treasures. We've opened a charity shop that I structured again for my mum in her name. It's been open for 7 weeks and it's doing amazing. So the charity shop is the icing on the cake, which is why I'm ready to put my name to these companies and become part of it and really start promoting it. So we've got the funeral home. We've done the scrapyard for Barry. Because the new premises that my mum's just moved to was too big, we decided that we was going to turn half of it into a charity shop, trying to bash our ideas on names and stuff like that. And we come up with a name, Tracy's Treasures. So it's, again, my sister. It's all revolves around, all of this wouldn't be possible for me not going through the trauma, the prison, coming out the other side, reflecting and getting to the point I am at now.
She's still with you, man. I can feel it.
This wouldn't have happened, mate. So we've got Tracy's Treasures. My mum's been open 7 or 8 weeks. You've got 2 adjoining shops, 1 entrance. And I promise you, it actually shows you how kind people are. Every single day, we must get between 8 to 12 bags of clothes donated for free. Brand new Gucci shoes, Prada jackets, Ray-Bans. I mean brand new. This is no exaggeration. So my mum's doing the funeral shop and the charity shop.
Wow.
And Barry's got the scrapyard within the space of 1.5 years to 2 years of being out. It's not mine. I ain't got the money to do it. But I gave them the vision and the idea and I structured it for them. I set it up for them and they're working. So from going to prison, going through the system, going to the B-Cats, the C-Cats, finally getting to a D-Cat and creating these companies. I've been in talks with the prison that let me out, HMP Spring Hill, and they've actually agreed to let me go back and interview the prisoners to come and work at our scrapyard. So guys that have been in trouble before that potentially couldn't have got an opportunity to get a job, they're now going to be coming to work for our metal yard, where we're going to train them in digger driving, forklift driving, weighbridge operators, or actually grading the scrap materials. So watch out for us. We're coming to every prison near you soon, 100%.
And all of John's links are in the description box below this video if you're watching it on YouTube. So click and support that work in the Islington, Stevenage area if you're in those areas in particular. So John, we like to finish just with a few words for the young people who've got gangsteritis. They've watched too many gangster movies.
Yes.
And they think, getting in the mix is cool. What would you like to say to those young people? Because many of them are probably going to watch this video.
Well, I've been there. I've seen it and I've done it. And it all seems like a good idea at the time because you've got your friends around you, maybe egging you on, a little bit of peer pressure to be the next top boy and the next top guy. It doesn't happen like that, mate. You do not come out the other side smiling. There's always misery and hurt along the way, whether it's to your kids or your mum or your dad. And then you end up losing it all anyway. And I think, me personally, the passion and the focus and the energy you put into committing them crimes, if you put that same passion, focus and energy into trying to be a legitimate businessman, 1,000,000%, you'll be more successful as a businessman than you would be as a criminal.
Powerful. So don't get gangsteritis, young people. Keep your day jobs. Let us know in the comments what you thought about this. And if people have got questions for you or want to contact you on socials, are you on any of the socials as well?
I'm not. Believe it or not, I've not even got a Facebook account, an Instagram account. I don't like them. I don't do them, and it isn't me. But I think I've set them up. I've got people to set them up for my mum and Barry, for the charity shop and the funeral home. And my mum does posts, and Barry doesn't know how to do a post anyway, but people do that for him. So there is a social media presence.
So we'll include those as well.
The metal recycling one is at Community Metal Recycling, Tracy's Treasures.ldn, or at TM Funeral Home. That's the three of them.
What a journey, man. Nice one. Yeah,
Thank
brilliant.
you very much,
well done.
man.
Yeah.
No, cheers, mate.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Cheers.
If you're looking for a gift, my new book, Sit Downs with Gangsters, is available worldwide on Amazon. We've interviewed over 1,000 people now, and we selected 10 of the hardest hitting stories to go in this book. Each chapter features the story of one of our podcast guests. Those stories are Shane Taylor, Knife Maniac's Redemption; John Elite, Mafia Hitman for the Gambino crime family; Joey Barnett, 35 years in UK prison; Ian Blink MacDonald, £6 million bank robber; Chet Sandu, Asian smuggler in Spanish Supermax; John Lawson, the hit team commander; David Macmillan, international smuggler's Thai death row prison escape; John Abbott, San Quentin prison shootouts and escape; Michael Francis, Colombo crime family capo portrayed in Goodfellas; and Wildman, English enforcer in Arizona prison. Link in description box on YouTube, available worldwide on Amazon. Also, my next book, Untouchable Jimmy Savile, is getting published in December 2023. So check that out as well. It will be available worldwide on Amazon. Thank you for listening. Cheers.